ready.
Are you ready? Time will tell if we are.
It's the Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve. We're always ready for something.
Booyah. Take two. We're back, everybody, for episode number 7, I do believe, of the Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve.
Alla Brewski. Can we hear you, Brewski?
Yes, can you hear me now?
We
Yes,
can hear you. All right,
Okay,
that's
good
Brewski
deal.
from Boston. I'm Steve from Northern California / Lake Tahoe. Nick Reynolds over there from the greater PNW, as we like to say when you're hip.
The
Pacific
206.
Northwest.
Yeah.
206 in the house.
Welcome to the program. Hey, if you want to get in contact with us, the easiest way is just to go to our website, thevocalminority.net.
Yes.
And then you can just message us right through the website there. And we've got all kinds of other social media. What are they, Steve?
Yeah, we're on them. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We're on Instagram. We're on TikTok. And we're on Twitter. Some version of the Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve for all of those. And a gigantic thanks to everyone who's been watching all of our videos and sharing and commenting, because the social media is where we're getting the most traffic at the moment. But it's directly translating to the podcast side of things.
Yeah.
I've mentioned before, I can see the little dots on our analytic map as to where you all are listening. And
What's your favorite news spot from this week?
well, Michigan has finally jumped on the map, thanks to my hometown people. So we got some
Nice.
people there. Green Bay, Wisconsin came onto the map.
Good. Yeah.
That could be Jeffrey Dahmer's family, dude. They're from that area.
Nice. Wichita, Kansas, still rocking hard for us, so that's been fun. Seattle expanding actually quite rapidly, Nick.
Yeah, I saw that, and I think that's awesome. I mean, hopefully some of our old listeners are starting to figure it out again, or people are spreading the word in our old circle. So
Yes, I believe that is the case. This show right here, we started as a call-in radio talk show back in the early 2000s, and originally we were on a limited syndication thing. We were on in Seattle, Wichita, Kansas, and Baltimore, Maryland, and for some reason that's where our audiences started again. So.
yeah,
As we've been mentioning, if you're hearing this, help us spread the word, share our stuff on social media, tell your people about it, and contact us. We want to talk to any of you that have found us in the early stages of all of this.
and we got fairly aggressive with the content on platforms this week, right?
Yes, a little bit. Some of them I kind of felt bad about.
Why? You
not all
didn't
of-
think they were up to par, or what?
No, they're just a little brutal. You know, we
Oh, yeah.
the Stabbing Cabin is out there. That's a fun one. Go find that.
Hookers,
What's that? Hookers.
Brewski and
Yes.
hookers, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
We have a lot of talk going on about cannibalism for some reason between
Right.
Dahmer and Armie Hammer. I
Yeah.
was threw up from last week's segment talking about cannibalism, so go check all that
We
out.
spoke about accents.
We did. We talked
We
about
did.
how
Women love
sexy
him.
Brewski is when he leaves the greater Boston area because he's got an accent. So that is all fun and good. There's one, Nick, that I'm just hesitant to post. Do you know which one I'm referring to?
Have I seen it or heard about it?
Well, you were part of the show, so I think you heard it. But,
Oh, yeah. No, I don't know right off the top of my head. Why? Give me a hint.
Stitches.
Oh, yes, you asshole, dude. You cannot do that. You can do it if you get creative with the editing.
I'll have to experiment. It was the best title I ever came up with, and I just started giggling uncontrollably and I realized it was horrible.
Listen, let's just say right now that this, I don't know why we're being so cryptic about it. When my sister had a baby, Brewski, you remember one of her friends was like, put a couple extra stitches in her. And Steve texted me on Sunday of all days, the Lord's Day.
Yeah, Nick was at church, I'm sure.
yeah.
And asks me if he can title it what?
Bitches get stitches.
Oh, now I like that a lot.
Can I call either of your sister a bitch, and you'll be all right with it?
I'm not calling her a bitch. I'm just referring to females as bitches, like female dogs, right? Does that make it better if I'm
Exactly.
comparing her to a female dog?
I don't know. I don't
It
know
was
if it
clever,
makes it better
though,
with
right?
me or
Or
huh?
a bitch stitch? I don't know.
Yeah,
Either way,
exactly.
I'm just thinking
yeah,
marketing.
You know what?
People.
I'm
trying
not here
be
to
pithy.
stifle creativity.
Well, it seems wrong, but it seems funny too. So
I like that.
Yeah.
I like him quite a bit, actually.
thank you.
All right.
All right.
Well,
So
check
anyway,
us out on the social media platforms. That's why I brought it up, because we got a bunch of new clips up.
yeah. So yeah, find us on there, share it. As mentioned, you're in on the early stage of the game. So yeah, we're going worldwide. It's fun. It's like the early days of COVID when we were watching the little dots on the map just slowly expand around the country, and you thought it's not really going to get over the whole country, is it? Well,
Let's hope that it travels that quickly, dude. That'd be something for the ages.
yeah. Well, we'll see. So we're going to keep doing our thing, and yeah, you guys keep listening out there, and yeah, thanks for it. So
Yeah, we appreciate it.
yeah.
Should we talk about what we got coming up?
Yeah, so big show today, of course, everybody. We have plenty of news stories that we need to get to. We do have some personal updates and whatnot. We have a guest we're going to talk with today, though, and he's actually sitting in our lobby. So I guess, guys, we can bring him in anytime. But let's set this up. I don't often recall us having guests on the show that I'm sort of morally on the fence about, wondering if it's actually a good idea to even discuss the topic. But
Okay.
one of our global listeners, I had mentioned that we have somebody listening in England, somebody's listening in Belgium, and somebody's listening in Malaysia. Well, I know who the person listening in England is now because they reached out to us, and he's got a website that at
Is-
first. What?
Is it Jim Slip?
I don't know who that is, so the answer is no.
Okay.
The guy's got a website that I thought was about how to catch people when they're cheating in a relationship. You know,
It
like that
sort of
TV show
is.
Cheaters, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I kind of glanced over the email. I was like, hey, cool. The guy from England reached out and he was like, I got this website about cheating and, I'd love to come on the show. And I thought, hey, cheating, like, yeah, it's a universal topic. So it turns out, though, his website is about how to get away with cheating.
Yeah. When I went to his webpage, then I noticed there's plenty of testimonials there, right? That say like, been married 34 years, got a wife and a lot of side pieces, and I've never been happier. So yeah,
And I'll
this
tell
guy
you-
teaches people how to cheat and not get caught.
Yes. And he won't come on camera with us. He's going to phone in. And I was like, why won't you go on camera? And he's like, isn't it obvious? So he's married or in a relationship and is clearly cheating. So he doesn't want his face on our show. But yeah, he's going to call in. And like I said, we're not doing this as a pro cheating segment because I think cheaters are, skanky pieces of shit. But
I told my wife before we did getting ready to do the podcast, I was like, hey, we're having a guy on today that's going to help me cheat flawlessly.
Right.
And she had her glasses on and she looks at me like, yeah, you want to do that? I was like, I'm just kidding. My God.
Right.
You're not even supposed to joke about cheating anymore.
Yeah, I don't think those jokes will go over well in your average relationship. Have you guys seen the TikTok videos where people will, like the guy leaves the house and he'll text his wife and say, hey, I'm leaving now. I'll be there in 5 minutes. And then the wives always come running out. Why you motherfucker? What are you doing? Like it's a joke.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't think those jokes usually go over very well. I will point out this, though. I would think if you take his advice and reverse engineer it, you could see if somebody's doing it to you.
It's exactly what I was thinking, dude. I mean,
Okay.
this can benefit everybody who's listening, and
Right.
it'll be interesting at the very least. Why do you call him Dark Horse?
That's what he calls himself. Again, he's not willing to show his face, so I assume he's not willing to use his real name either.
He's like a Trojan slipping through.
I guess so. I mean, I suppose these are all questions we can ask him, and if we have the time or desire, we can get his take on British food, since that's where he's
Yeah,
at.
that's always a possibility. Are you ready for this, Brewski? You're
Continue
not
that
too
debate.
upset, are you?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
All right.
All right. So yeah, so we got the cheater, and then we've got other stories to get to. We've got STDs to talk about today. We have fast food restaurants. We have marijuana we'll be discussing at some point here.
Yeah.
All sorts of fun things here on the Vocal Minority Show. So thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in. Let's head on over to the Dark Horse, dude. Now with this talk, I'm
All right.
Getting
I'm admitting
excited.
him now. So, yeah. Here he comes on in. Let's I don't even know where to start with this other than to find out how did this become the hobby.
Dark Horse. Can you hear us? Hello, Dark Horse.
Hello, sir. How are we?
Ah, there he is.
Oh, you
Hey.
are a champion.
What's up, Doc Hoss?
Welcome
are
to the
you guys?
program.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
You're very welcome. Steve came across your email after you reached out to us, and we were like, a couple of days before that, we were like, who's listening in, where were they?
England.
Liverpool?
No, well, Dark Horse and I were discussing that. This geo tracking is not pinpoint accurate. It's kind of wherever your server is. So he's somewhere in England. What does it matter? He's our English listener. Dark Horse, do you feel good about the fact you're the only person in the United Kingdom currently listening to us?
I actually do. I'm incredibly flattered. But to be fair, it is 11:30 at night on a Monday, so hopefully most people are tucked up in bed with a nice cup of cocoa.
Nice. Yeah, well, we'll be posting this, so the Brits can find it in the morning, I guess. So
exactly.
And start telling some people. God damn it, we need some more people over there listening. So
no problem. I'll be sharing it on my social, so don't you worry.
Nice.
Oh, fantastic.
You know, it's interesting that we can't see what he looks like because just hearing his accent, we were talking about the fact that women love accents. Now, there in England, you don't have an accent, but over here you do. So you're already turning on listeners.
Fantastic. What can I say? It's women watching too many Hugh Grant movies. I blame Hugh Grant, or thank him, should I say.
I think that's probably true. We were talking about how just women love these accents, and Hugh is probably the original of that. My wife or my mother have loved him at one point based off his accent. Obviously not his behavior, because he was screwing women behind his wife's back in a car at one point. Prostitutes, right?
Yeah, it was a tranny too.
I don't know if that matters.
Yeah, really. What does that matter? I'm really attracted to Paddington Bear. So just hearing you talk, it's got me all warm and fuzzy. So
fantastic. Well, we've been in the news a lot. A lot's been happening with our royal family. So I suppose all the worldwide press has been featuring British accents of late.
Yes. Yeah, it's been a big horny fest over here. All right, Dark Horse. So let's get into this. So we were just talking about the fact that when you first reached out to us, and I appreciate you doing that, I sort of just skimmed through it all, and I saw that you had a website about cheating, and I assumed that it was how to, discover if somebody in your life was cheating on you. But it turns out your website is actually about how to get away with cheating. Is that correct?
Exactly right. Quite the opposite from what you initially thought. So my website is not necessarily. I mean, people mistake it for catching cheaters or helping people cheat. It's neither of those. It's certainly a website to help people who already cheat get away with it.
I see. So you're not trying to plant the idea, but if you're already a cheater and you go to cheatershandbook.com, you're saying you can help them, perfect the art?
Correct. Yeah, a little bit of tradecraft never hurt anyone. You can ask the CIA. But yes, absolutely. The whole plan is helping cheaters not to get caught, being sensible about cheating. The truth is, if you look at, I know you guys have heard of sites like Ashley Madison, which are sort of famous for people who cheat to find other people who cheat.
Yeah.
And even despite the fact they've got allegedly a whole number of bots, I mean, they still have 60 million users. Wow. And that number tells you a lot about the world of cheating. There's, if you were to go by their numbers, there's 60 million people who are either curious, have cheated once, or are regular cheaters. And so I know I'm not in the minority, but what I thought is too many people make amateur mistakes, too many people get caught whilst they're at it. And I, as a joke, really thought, well, what would happen if I started a blog helping people get away with cheating? And it sort of started as me having kept the cheating a secret, even from my own friends, for well over a decade. And it got to a point where I just needed a place to outlet stories, journeys, mistakes I've made, and within a couple of blog posts, the British press picked up on it, and we started to get a little bit of quite a lot of virality.
Wow. Oh, now you are a champion.
So, do you feel terrible about this, or is cheating just something that you're comfortable with, and you figure why not help?
Do you mean, am I comfortable with cheating on my own wife, or am I comfortable helping others get away with it?
I would say both. I mean, I'm not a big fan of cheaters, so it seems like it's like if I had a website on how to get away with murder, like I would feel a little dirty about trying to help people be better at a bad thing. But yeah, where's your moral compass on all of this?
Oh God. So something I get asked obviously on every podcast. And this is going to sound like maybe semantics or me justifying it to myself, but even though I do cheat, I don't consider myself a cheater. I almost feel you've got to be caught to be called a cheater. So I feel like I'm
semantics.
Right. Yeah, that's semantic. Okay.
I feel like I'm someone who cheats. I have 3 young children, and
Nice.
a lot of guys with kids will understand that once you've had kids, you're sort of at the bottom of the pecking order of you're at the bottom of the ladder in terms of getting attention. And it was just something I've done since even before I was married. Unfortunately, I've done it for so long that it's become a big normal part of my life. But
Wow.
definitely, I want to say to your listeners, I acknowledge cheating is wrong, and I acknowledge that I'm broken. On every piece I write for the media, that's something I sort of say at the beginning, that I know this is so wrong.
I respect that. I mean, I respect that you say it's wrong.
You respect
the
that he does it?
responsibility is the issue with it all. But I want to ask you this, Dark Horse: did your dad cheat on your mom,
Not that
or
I know
vice
of.
versa?
Not that I know of.
He might have just been really good at getting away with it.
Yeah.
It might run in the family
It
DNA.
might run in the family.
You
This
could be
trait.
second generation.
Dark Horse, are any of your kids, do you have a daughter?
I have 3 daughters. Yes.
So how would you feel if down the road some guy is reading your blog and using it to cheat on one of your daughters?
Oh God. Well, my oldest is 8, and if I've still got a blog by the time she's dating, I'll definitely be doing something wrong. At some point, this blog will disappear.
Okay.
Especially when the same press that I write for suddenly decide to turn around and go, let's unmask Dark Horse, and decide to hire a private detective to track me down. So I think it's about leaving on when I've sort of hit my peak with all the writing versus when I'm discovered. That's the art, knowing when to leave a party.
Well,
you
you and
said
I
you
are-
started this off as kind of a hobby or an outlet for yourself. Have you monetized it?
No, not at all. I sort of have a form saying, if you want some relationship coaching. So how I framed it is, I said, cheating has to be the hardest form of dating. And if I can be married and see multiple women, and you're single and having issues, then perhaps you should call me. Again, in jest, I've had half a dozen emails. I throw out ridiculous sums. I'm like, I charge $1,000 an hour, which obviously I don't.
Sure.
And then I never hear from them again. So there's some people who do write to me and do want help, but no, I haven't monetized it. The plan to monetize it will simply be like most blogs, get a huge amount of traffic and put some ads on it, and just let it tickle over in the background.
Interesting. So you said you've been a cheater since before you got married. So like high school even, or you've just always been a cheater?
Since the age of 18, I was one of those unfortunate kids that didn't do very well in my teens with women. And then after I sort of turned 18, I discovered something called the gym, and decided to hit the gym and buy some better clothes. And I don't mean designer, but I mean clothes that actually fit me. And that gave me a new level of confidence. And so I got my first girlfriend at 17, 18, and then accidentally got another one. And I went, wow, this is a bit of a game. And let's just start collecting them and see how we get on.
And do they know that they're the other woman? Do they know you're cheating on someone else?
Yeah. So in the last 10 years, I've tried everything. I started by telling women I was single. I said I was separated. I said I was divorced. It's kind of hard to hide 3 car seats in the back of a car and remove them. And then about 6 years ago, I thought, well, what would happen if I'm just honest and say to women, look, I'm actually married. I do this because I like the attention. And I started discovering a better quality of affair partner.
Wow.
So women who didn't want a guy with baggage, women who just wanted to have a bit of fun, have some attention. And it eliminated the risk of them showing up at my doorstep going, oh my God, I can't believe you didn't tell me you were married.
No one's ever fallen in love with you and showed up at your doorstep?
I've had one person who's fallen in love with me, and I stupidly fell in love with her. She was the only person I ever considered leaving my wife for. But no, luckily, no one's ever shown up to the door.
You broke your own rules, Dark Horse. You broke your own rules.
I broke my own heart.
Wow. All right, we're talking with Dark Horse, the mystery man behind cheatershandbook.com, a man who teaches you how to be better at a terrible thing. So my question, Dark Horse, based on your experience, are cheaters always cheaters, or can someone cheat once and then just be done with it?
To be really honest, I mean, obviously I don't speak on behalf of everyone who cheats, but what I would say is we're all individuals, and I have friends who've had drunken nights out and have had a one-night affair and have spent the last 5 years feeling guilty about it. Whilst I also have other friends who have plenty of one-night stands and flings and mistresses. So I suppose we're all unique. I think that the honest answer is some people will cheat once and then the guilt and the moral compass kicks in and they'll never do it again, much like touching a hot plate. And I think for people like me, you try it once and there's a buzz and a thrill and a high. And you'll do anything to chase that high.
Do you have any thought about your wife cheating on you? I mean, do you worry about it?
Yeah, so I get asked that all the time. I mean, I do worry about it, but she's an incredibly busy woman and she's very busy with work, her business and our kids. And, statistically, the chances are quite low of that happening, but it has crossed my mind. I mean, it would be the ultimate fuck you. I'm not like, I don't know if I can swear on this.
You can.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, great. It would be the ultimate fuck you to me. So
how would that land, do you think? Would you like high five her? Like, hey, you pulled it off. I didn't know. Or would it devastate you?
It would probably devastate me. I know. I'm a hypocrite. Look, I like my cake and I want to eat it. And I'm the ultimate hypocrite.
I appreciate your honesty.
I'm no narcissist, but I certainly am a hypocrite.
It's interesting how honest you are for a guy who's teaching how to lie. Does anyone else see the irony there?
I'm not teaching people how to lie. I'm teaching people how to cover their tracks, and there's a distinction in that.
Oh, okay. Well, so all right. So get into it then. What are the I don't know, the top 3 mistakes people make when they're out there cheating?
Oh God. Well, it's you've heard the phrase, right? It's never the crime. It's always the cover up.
Yes.
Most people would get away with cheating. I think the most embarrassing cheaters, in my eyes, are the ones that feel so guilty they confess. I mean, that's amateur mistake 1.
Okay, so no morals. Gotcha. All right.
Yeah, no
Deny.
Yeah, die with that lie. I don't know if you guys are into the mafia stuff, but John Gotti said, if you rob a church and get caught with the steeple sticking out of your ass, you still deny it. And I kind of, that's a lot like me. The second thing is most people get caught on their phones, right? Like your phone is a beacon. You'll be messaging someone back and forth, and that's ultimately what gets you caught. And then the hard evidence, the smell of perfume on your clothes, hair in the car, hair where it shouldn't be. And so the simplest things, credit card statements, et cetera. I mean, the most things that we think are so basic, that's what gets people caught.
How many cell phones do you have?
Right, I was going to say, so how do you cover those tracks?
So I have a burner. Oh, that sounds terrible. I have a burner phone, which my assistant manages, and then I obviously have my own normal phone, which I carry around.
Have you
ever use on my normal phone? I use secret apps like Kik and like Telegram, apps that my wife has never even heard of. And if I'm very close to that particular affair partner, I will chat to them from my own handset. But they're self-deleting messages. So on things like Telegram, it will self-delete after a few seconds.
Wow.
It sounds like you've got it down. How many years have you been a cheater then?
God.
I don't know
Since
how
long as I'm 40 now, and I've been cheating since I was 18, 19. So for a while. All right. And I've been married for 10 years.
You think you got more than 10,000 hours into it? Are you a master?
I don't know. And people have got, how many affairs have you had? I've never counted. How many women have you slept with? I've never counted.
What's your guess, though? What are we talking? Dozens, hundreds, what?
Dozens.
Okay.
Okay.
And how are you staying disease-free from all of this? Are you practicing safe sex, or you throw it all to the wind?
Yeah, no, safe sex and regular checks at the doctor. He's obviously in the know of my activities. And I have plenty of friends who are doctors, so I get plenty of tests done regularly. But I practice safe sex. I mean, for me, it's interesting that you brought the sex up, because a lot of people correlate cheating to sex.
Yeah.
And if you've been doing it for as long as I have, it actually isn't about the sex. It's about getting attention. It's about someone listening to you without saying, take out the trash, pick up the kids. It's almost like having someone to have intimate moments with without them being interrupted with other sort of regular house day-to-day shit. And so
why don't you just emotionally cheat then?
I do that a lot as well, actually. On Instagram, you'll meet women across the other side of the world, and there are 3 or 4 women that I talk to regularly, and it's almost like we're in an affair, but we've never met. We'll FaceTime, we'll chat.
What's the difference between an emotional affair and just having a friend? Are you sexting or something? Is it getting dirty?
was it when Harry Met Sally, or one of the movies where it goes, women and men can't be friends, and I actually do believe that. I think the only time women and men are friends is when the man is trying to sleep with the woman. I mean, I have a few friends who are women, and they're a bit like sisters, and it would never happen. But I typically, I can't imagine how that would go down with my wife if I said, hey, that person's a friend of mine, we're just going out for dinner. Much like I would probably have something to say if she was going out with a bloke or a guy for dinner.
Interesting. One of my best friends is a woman, and I do think of her as a sister. So, and when I first got with when I first got with my ex, she was very suspicious of the whole thing, and I explained, like, she's like a sister, like there's no part of that going on. But yeah, you're right. It's, I guess, complicated a lot of times when men and women are friends.
Right.
You feel like this, the fact that you get to live life on your terms makes you a better father?
Definitely. I wrote about that in my first blog. I think I'm more present at home. I'm more fulfilled with life. I think, I mean, you guys have an interesting gig in the fact that you get to interview different people, so your days are never really the same. But most men out there have pretty monotonous lives, right? They're at work, they go home to their family, and then the next day it's like Groundhog Day. And I think what cheating has done for me is added a whole level of excitement. Without having to sort of look forward to the next holiday 4 months away. I have weekly excitement. I have something to look forward to every week, and that makes life incredibly exciting.
Do you still have regular sex with your wife? Like,
yeah.
Wow. So you're a fascinating dark horse. I'm trying to gauge you, and you don't sound like an asshole to me. You sound like a nice person and someone I would want to be friends with. But I thought I was going to think you were an asshole, and I don't. So
it's the accent. He just sounds nice. That's all.
Is it the accent?
You know, I did a podcast, my first ever podcast I did last month, and the woman who interviewed me said the exact same thing. She goes, I wanted to hate you. I tried my hardest to absolutely detest you. But you know it's wrong, and you're so honest about it that, and you're not encouraging men to have affairs, that I absolutely, can't say anything bad about you other than your moral compass is hugely fucked.
Right. Are you not encouraging men to have affairs? I mean, it kind of sounds like you're painting a roadmap, so that
he's
would
not
be
recruiting new. He's not recruiting, I'm not,
because
new
the new guys who are going to cheat. They're likely to get caught, right? They're going to make an amateur mistake, or they'll go to one of these dating websites. And what I'm not saying to people is come over and cheat. It's great. The trouble is, cheating is, if you take the fun aside, it is a big juggling act. It's mentally exhausting. It's hard enough to keep one woman happy, let alone several.
Right. I don't want to disappoint multiple women at one time,
Right, and it's expensive. I mean, let's look at the realism of it. Booking hotel rooms and restaurants.
Yes.
And
does your wife think you make less than you do? How is that cash going away like that?
She doesn't see what I make. I own several businesses, and she doesn't know what I make.
Wow, interesting.
I provide, and that's all that matters.
The mama don't know money.
Exactly. The fuck you.
Anyone
money.
at any of the hotels you go to know you as a regular?
I never stay at the same hotel. Part of my tricks, I never stay at the same hotel. I have an Amex Platinum. I have a concierge at the other end of that phone, and she keeps a track of where I've stayed, and I never stay at the same hotel ever once.
Wow. And you mentioned not coming home, smelling of perfume and stuff. So is showering a part of your normal routine? How does that go?
Oh my God, it gets worse. Can I be really honest? It actually gets worse. So if I sometimes say, hey, I'm going to the gym for the day, I'm playing tennis, I'm going to hang out with some friends, and I leave the house wearing, say, a black t-shirt and blue joggers, I will have the exact same pair in the car, have my fun, shower, come home looking the exact same, but of course, smelling fresh. Or should I say not smelling of perfume?
Right.
You don't find this exhausting?
It's exhausting. That's what I'm saying. There's something so wrong with me.
Well, you acknowledge you're broken, so I guess that's something. Let me tell you a theory I have about sex, and I'd be curious to hear what you think of it. And this was I think it was Dana Carvey did this in a stand-up bit when I was 18, and I grabbed onto it. He said that he doesn't want to have sex with a million different women. He wants to find one woman and have sex with her a million times. Like, get one woman and just fuck her every way you can, do everything kinky you can. And I totally agree with that philosophy. I don't want quantity, I want quality. What do you think about that, Dark Horse?
No, I want quantity and quality. And I want variety. Think of it like Baskin Robbins. I want a bit of every flavor. So, it's. I mean, my answer to that would be once you've, fucked a woman a million different times, then what? And so that, it comes back to getting a bit of variety and having that excitement. And like I said, a lot of this isn't about sex. Sex is a great byproduct of cheating. But being able to feel like a high school kid, going for the chase, getting butterflies in your stomach, knowing that you've got someone else, it's confidence boosting. It does great things for your morale, and it adds another level of excitement to one's life.
Wow.
Have you ever got anyone pregnant?
No, never.
Just are you rubbering it up, or what are you doing?
Rubbering it up, yeah. And luckily, nothing's broken, so nothing's ever ripped. And no, I haven't got anyone pregnant, thank God. But to be fair, if I'm really honest, most of the women I cheat with are professionals. They wouldn't want to get pregnant. Of late, I've been cheating with women who are married because I have less explaining to do. They're looking for some fun. They're looking for an outlet, as am I. And the last thing they want to do is go home pregnant. So,
yeah, makes sense. Hey, Brewski, I saw some cringing when I was talking about quantity versus quality. Are you more quantity than quality?
Well, it's like Doug Stanhope says, once they fucked all your holes a bunch of times, it's just going to get boring. And
you guys got to get more
things.
Creative. I got a zillion ideas.
You're taking little responsibility for the sexual exhilarance in your relationship.
It's boring.
Have you ever looked internally? Are you boring in bed, Brewski?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Well, you mean because you have fetishes, or are you a great lover?
Well, I don't know. We've all heard earlier episodes of this show, and it's been a while since, so I don't think that's I can say I'm a great lover, but I can say that in my relationship, like my last relationship, it got very, very boring. It just did.
Right.
It seems to me that if you're creative, it doesn't matter which hole you're sticking it in. It doesn't matter if it's Mary or Molly. Like, I'll have the same amount of fun over and over.
Oh no, it's completely different. And the reason why I say that is that different people react to different things different ways.
I understand the exhilarance of it.
No. What I do to one person that may get her okay, but then another woman might actually like it and that sort of thing. And even if you ask what do you like and that sort of thing, it just gets boring after a while.
All right, so Dark Horse,
different folks.
Let me ask you this question, Dark Horse: are there things that your wife won't do in bed that you then seek out with these other women?
No, not at all. It's not that. It's not. I mean, I know we're focusing a bit on the sex, but like I said earlier, I mean, the sex has. The cheating isn't about the sex. For me, as childish as it sounds, it is about getting attention. And so, what makes cheating fun is the secrecy. Sex is a byproduct, but I got to say, I love the chase. For me, that's probably the best bit of it all.
Do you have some buddies that you do it with, or do you ride solo, Dark Horse?
I ride solo.
You do?
Oh, no.
Yeah, I don't want to be blackmailed. I'm really conscious. Like, I'm really sensible. Oh, no, it sounds weird. Strange words to put in a sentence, but I am very sensible about how I cheat. I'm sensible about who I tell. And the last thing is, you could tell your best friends and they may innocently tell their wife, at least I'm not like Dark Horse. I don't cheat like him. She may be what? She tells her hairdresser and then it Chinese whispers that shit all the way back to my wife. So
wow,
you got that shit locked down like
I was going to say, he has put some thought into this.
I'm disciplined. I'm I'm disciplined by nature. I'm a disciplined businessman. I'm a disciplined person, and I'm disciplined about the way I cheat.
I feel like
your wife would be more hurt by catching you cheating physically or emotionally?
Emotionally, 100%. And I think most women out there could tolerate a husband having a drunkard one-night stand. They won't tolerate a mistress because that's so much more, right?
How many of your affairs are ongoing versus one-night stands?
I don't do one-night stands and I don't do flings.
Wow. So
what does that mean? How long do they last?
Long-term, like 1 to 3 month affairs.
Okay.
Do you have a cutoff? Like after 3 months, we got to end this thing, or do you just take
when one of the parties starts to develop feelings, then that's the time to sort of hit the road.
And that is you sometimes?
Only once I've made that mistake, but generally it's them. Women will, I mean, it's such a terrible thing to say, but women typically get more, for them, sex is more emotional. And then the way they go about the affair is then more emotional.
Yeah, that makes sense. And you're saying that it's not necessarily about the sex for you. So then do you ever have one of these flings or long-term affairs or whatever you want to call it, where the sex is really not that great, but it was just the conquest to get there? Or is the sex always good?
Yeah, that's really common. That's sad and that's common and that's true. But yeah, that is probably a very fair assessment of the sex with some of these affair partners.
Do you ever feel dirty afterward?
I never feel dirty and I never feel guilty, hence the unbroken.
Never. Wow. That is fascinating. I am at such an opposite level that sometimes I'll put some porn on my computer and jerk off. And as soon as I'm done, I'll be like, oh, I am such a filthy pile of shit.
Well, you are.
Come on.
That's how I feel after I eat a KFC, but never after I
Wow. All right. What about swingers? Is that cheating? Is that a world you dabble in? Have you ever thought about asking the wife if she wants to bring something?
No, I wouldn't. I mean, I'm too precious about her. And no, it's not a world. To me, that feels dirty. But I mean, far be it for me to judge. I'm sure plenty of people listening to this must think I'm, a narcissistic, disgusting human being. But no, it's not something that appeals to me, the swingers world. It seems too easy as well. I mean, that's a terrible thing to say. There's not much of a chase. You show up, there's a party, everyone knows what they're there for. I kind of like picking up one of the school mums that everyone thinks is attractive and no one has a hope in hell of getting her in bed, and I've done it. There's something quite a sense of achievement in doing that.
Do you have any line you draw? If she's married, if she has kids, is there any
lines other than I don't like to shit where I eat? So I try and if I meet someone locally, we'll make sure the affair happens far away. Last thing you want to do is be with your kids in the supermarket and you bump into them. But very few lines, in fact, recently, like I said, I prefer if they're married because there's less explaining to do. When I pick up, say, women in their 30s, they start off by thinking you're an asshole. You spend a couple of weeks, they start to get to know you, then you tell them you cheat, you dabble, they get completely curious. And I don't know, have you guys ever seen Boiler Room or Glengarry Glen Ross?
Yes.
It's that scene. It's Ada, attention, interest, decision, action. And women who never set out to cheat with you go through that process, and then you end up closing them. And that's fun. And women in their 20s couldn't give a shit whether you're married or not. So that's just, from my experience, something I've noticed.
Oh, is there a better demographic to cheat with then? 20-somethings, 50-somethings, what?
Yeah, it sounds horrible. Women who are 28 and 29 and women who are 38 and 39. Anyone hitting the next decade, they seem to have midlife crises, and that seemed to be easier to close.
Man, has Oxford called you to teach a course?
Well, I couldn't show my face. I mean, I've had couple of requests to be on TV. They're doing a documentary on Ashley Madison. I've had the producers contact me. And even the newspapers, they're like, we'll pay you $250 an article. And I'm like, if I give you my bank account, you'll know who I am. And so I'd rather write for free.
Wow. We got to get you one of those V for Vendetta masks or something.
Right.
Wow. Well, we're talking with Dark Horse, cheatershandbook.com. And as we've said earlier, I think we all kind of wanted to hate you, but you seem like a nice guy. And this is a fascinating discussion we're having here. Nick, thoughts?
Now you are a champion.
He does. Like I said, I think he seems like someone that we'd be friends with. You're also, you're very well spoken. You seem like you have feelings on some level of, I guess I shouldn't say that. Every level other than cheating, you seem to have feelings and kind of like a sensitive guy. So
he's acknowledging he's got something broken, and he's saying all of these women nowadays are also well aware he's cheating. So it's all consenting adults.
It's a new world, Steve. It's a new world where, what's that? Hey, Brewski, what's the show that's on Netflix that's all sex and teenagers now? You don't know what it is? Euphoria. No, that's what it is. Okay. Euphoria. Everybody's cheating these days. And I don't know. We're similar age to the Dark Horse. I don't know. I thought maybe it's a generational thing, but yeah, I don't know, dude. Everyone seems to be cheating. When I went and delivered pizzas, which I did for like a year during the pandemic to give myself something to do, all these kids I was working with were high school or like up to 25. They were all cheating all the time.
Hey, Dark Horse, how was cheating during the pandemic? Was that significantly harder or easier to hook
Not
up?
harder, because in England, if you left the house during the first lockdown, you could be arrested. All the hotels were closed unless you were a key worker, so a medical professional, which I'm not. And so instead of crying about it, I went out of my way to find doctors and nurses to have affairs with. And then they
You kidding me?
He's
Yeah,
a
it's all
problem
about
solver.
strategy. But can I just say, let me tell you some of the positives about cheating, other than it
Yeah.
gives me a high, it's exciting. I am the best version of myself. So I go to the gym 4 times a week. I'm well dressed. Women don't want to cheat with someone they're like who they're married to. So if their husband's in a particular routine and is a couch potato and doesn't pay them compliments, I want to be the complete opposite of that. So I go out of my way to get a weekly haircut. I go out of my way to hit the gym. I'm in better shape today than I've ever been. And that's because, you know, that's part of the cheating profile. And it's weirdly enough made me a better human being.
Does your wife stay in good shape?
Yeah, she goes to the gym 3 times a week.
Oh.
She's always done that.
Wow.
Well, yeah, I don't know.
Do you think you're going to stop at some point? You said you were going to pull the blog, like when your kids get older, but do you think you're going to retire from cheating at some point?
I hope so. I hope I mature and grow up at some point. I mean, I really do.
Yeah,
And
it'll kick in any day, I'm sure. Don't worry.
yeah, I mean, like I have said, you know, a lot of us men have vices, and some men drink too much and some smoke too much. And, you know, for me, my vice is cheating and needing that attention elsewhere. And, you know, I think that is a vice, that is a problem. And I hope to kick the habit.
Wow.
This is this is not to dig into you personally, but are you in therapy? And the only reason I ask that is because do you share? You said you mentioned it to your doctor; he's aware. But if you are in therapy, do you talk about this?
No, I'm not in therapy. I almost feel that I'm not ready to give up cheating, and part of me feels that if I see a therapist, then it could push me down the road sooner than I'm ready to go down it.
Right.
I see.
No therapist is going to sit back and go, "Hey, what you're doing is fantastic." They're going to, at some point, they're going to, you know, to do their job properly, they're going to go, "What you're doing is so fucked up."
Right. They're going to challenge you.
Yeah, and that's the last thing I want. And it's the last thing I want to hear. I mean, I come on podcasts a lot, and you know, people will attack me and say stuff, or I'll write for certain websites where people have been cheated on, and you should see the hate mail I get and the vitriol.
Yeah,
I can put up with all of that, but sitting down with a trained professional who looks me dead in my eye and goes, "You've got to stop," I just don't think I'm ready.
Have you ever had a guy track you down? Someone that, you know, someone you're cheating with, this person, husband,
No,
boyfriend?
because the women I cheat with, I teach them all the tricks of the trade, and so I help them be careful. It's sort of part of the process.
Wow. I feel
And did
I
they
feel like
sign an NDA?
No, they fucking should. That's a great idea.
Put it on the blog.
Yeah, my lawyers already make enough money off me. I might as well throw that into the mix.
Wow. I feel like I have to shower all of a sudden. I don't know. This discussion. All right, Dark Horse. As we wrap things up here, do you have any, I don't know, words of wisdom, the golden rule? Just go to your website to read it all, or is there some starting point?
Anyone interested? I mean, I've not mentioned the site, and thank you so much for mentioning it a few times. If anyone's curious about how to get away with it, by all means, just subscribe. We're not selling anything. We're not out to push anything. But if anyone is on the fence about cheating, I would say don't do it. Don't open this door. Don't go down this road. You know, cheating can be addictive, and it can be destructive. You know, it can break up your family, can mess up your kids' lives. And you know, if you are on the fence, then you know, don't at all do this. But if you are someone listening to this who is a regular cheater or who cheats once in a while, just be careful and learn how to be smarter about it. You know, the idea is to protect your family from your other life.
Wow. Have you ever had someone approach you and say, "I'm married to a woman, but I want to cheat with a guy"? You have any advice on that? Or is this advice gender neutral?
Yeah, it's gender neutral, but that scenario sounds great. You know, I've never had that happen to me yet.
Oh, well, there you go.
I have slept with someone who was a lesbian before, and she went back to being a lesbian, and that completely destroyed my self-worth.
Wow.
Are you bisexual?
No, I'm not.
Well,
I think I've given him a whole new thing, though, to go
I
down.
I am genuinely, as much as the cheating side sounds dirty and horrible, I am not into kinky stuff. I'm not into, food products in the bed, whips, chains. I mean, I'm a pretty vanilla guy in the bedroom. As long as they climax, I'm a happy man. But I have no kinks, right? This isn't about leading a wild sexual life or, racking up the numbers. This is simply about having that almost girlfriend experience with one or more women. And right now I've got 3 different women on rotation.
Wow. That's the current stable right now? You've got 3 women?
Well, yeah, it's just worked out like that. And I'm trying to sort of get rid of one of them. She's starting to get a bit too emotional and sort of sending me gifts, which is always a red flag. And keep the other 2 going because, gifts is a start and then showing up at the door is the next bit. So try and nip these things in the bud quite quickly.
What's your breakup advice? What's the best way to cut these things off?
Always, oh my God. Now, this is going to make me seem like a narcissist. So I was called manipulative, but it is a good strategy. Pick a fight and have her dump you. That way she doesn't show up to the house. If you're the person that does the dumping, she will resent you forever. Always let her feel like she's in control.
Wow.
You have designed a way to thoroughly not take any accountability for any of this.
This is really impressive how much thought you put into all this.
This is amazing.
As terrible as it is. Wow.
I don't know what to tell you, fellas. It's a fucked up life I lead.
Right. Here, I've got a theme song for your eventual new podcast here.
I just want bang, bang, bang. I don't want a relationship. I just want bang, bang, bang. I don't want to know your name. I just want bang, 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 bang.
The Bang 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 podcast.
So we're not going with the James Bond theme tune.
Nah, I don't want to make obvious British jokes. That's fine. Wow. All right. Well, cheatershandbook.com, Dark Horse. I appreciate you listening to us over there. Please spread the word. I guess not to anyone you know directly, though, because that would be bad. Maybe tell the other women. We can get some of them listening.
Yeah, and weirdly enough, all the women I date have seen my blog and they'll comment on it. And one of them has even asked to write for it. So yeah, it is turning out to be a bit of a twisted site at the moment.
You don't ever worry about being on a podcast and having your wife like going to the grocery store and tuning into a podcast you're on.
All the podcasts I'm on are American based. And so typically what you guys have with a limited listeners in the UK, that weirdly enough, what is my criteria? That works for me perfectly.
Nice. That's hilarious.
You sly bastard.
I hope we don't explode in the UK for your benefit.
Yeah, me too. I'll be begging to get this down.
I've been actually really harsh on Britain of late, and I didn't mean to, but I've been saying that I don't give a shit about the royals, and I think British food sucks. Am I right or am I right?
British food absolutely sucks.
Yes.
But I'm a huge royalist, growing up in the UK, to know that the government is not the final authority, and in some ways I have to check with a higher power. That
Did you hear that?
works for me.
Yeah.
It keeps them in check, and I'm not a very political person, but to know that the Prime Minister has to have a weekly visit with the Queen and now the King, it's weirdly reassuring to me that we have our own version of checks and balances.
You feeling good about King Charles III?
I've met him. I've actually had dinner with him, and incredibly charming man. I'm a businessman, and the royals bring in, I think, 4 billion a year in tourism. So in that sense, they do a lot for the country, and they bring awareness to a whole bunch of charities that most people will never have heard of. Good members of the royal family will do 200. God, the word's slipping my mind. It's so late here. It's past midnight. So they'll do 200 events a year, and 99% of them will be to charities. And they put a spotlight on charities that are struggling with funding, struggling with awareness, and a visit from Prince William will make or break a charity. And I think that in itself is amazing.
Hey, what about Prince Andrew? Isn't he a big cheater? You guys hang out?
Well, he got caught, so he's a fucking idiot. But,
Not one of your students, clearly.
No, clearly not. I got approached by the Metro newspaper to write about Adam Levine, about how he should have got away with cheating better. But Prince Andrew, a complete entitled, horrible person. But also, you've got to remember what life is like for people who are never going to be the heir to the throne. I mean, they live this weird life in limbo, and it's not something any of us can relate to, being the spare, and that's what they call them, the heir and the spare. And, to know that you're never going to get the top job and you just keep getting pushed down, it's almost hard. And these people are not
He's only got one
Harry and
castle.
Meghan-
It's lame.
Harry
And you're
Meghan
so
went-
compassionate, Dark Horse. I mean, you have so much compassion.
Harry and Meghan, on the other hand, have lost all popularity in the UK for
See,
going down.
Is that a
Good.
racial issue? I mean, do you
No.
guys? Hey, Brewski, are you the expert here?
Yeah, pipe down, Bruce.
So
Dark
racial,
Horse.
racial, I would say a little bit. There's always going to be. So Britain is very still stuck in that mentality that we used to rule the world.
Right.
And we learned something about Trump supporters, just as we did with Brexit voters here in England, which is they stay quiet until the day of the election. And then the
Right.
silent majority suddenly come out of the woodworks. And it doesn't matter what your views are, but the data shows me that the silent majority always come out on the day of elections. And there's always going to be a huge part out that are not big cities, the London, the Liverpools, the Manchesters, like the
Sure.
small towns that are always going to be slightly old-fashioned, slightly racist. But Meghan lost her popularity in the UK by simply being rude, looking for the spotlight too much, trying to outshine the Queen. And that's something you don't do in a family like that. You never outshine the monarch.
I say screw the silent majority. We're all about the vocal minority.
We are vocal minority.
That's right. All right, guys, any last thoughts here for Dark Horse before we send him back out into the world of infidelity and
We appreciate your
adrenaline
time,
seeking?
Dark Horse. We know it's late there, so thanks for making it work today.
No problem. I came to my office. Obviously, I couldn't talk about this at home, hiding in the
I was going to
study.
ask, are you in the basement right now? So you're at your office.
Well, I've come to my office where I can obviously speak freely. And I have an assistant who has an ironclad NDA. So she's the one that helped set up this interview. She sort of manages the email account.
You've never cheated with her.
No, she's not very good looking. And that's probably why she got the job. If anyone is interested in being more persuasive, and this isn't to do with cheating, I would highly recommend a book called Persuasion Engineering by Dr. Richard Bandler. Incredible book, very good for people to learn how to be more persuasive, whether you're single and looking to date more, whether you're cheating, whether you're involved in sales. That book I read when I was 18 years old, and it absolutely changed my life.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I don't know what your businesses are, but I bet sales is some part of it, isn't it?
Sales is part of it, yeah, and I'm
Yeah.
a phenomenal salesman. So
I bet you are.
That book, yeah, and the movies, Boiler Room, Glengarry, Glen Ross, and Wolf of Wall Street. In order to, if persuasion is your thing, because up to some degree we all use persuasion.
Yeah.
Those movies and that book, they're all life changing.
Nice. All right. Well, this has been quite an interesting conversation. So, yeah, Dark Horse, we appreciate your time. Get some tea and go to bed. I know it's late there in England.
So much for no British jokes, hey?
Oh, I had to slip one in. I mean, come on.
Absolutely. Go
All
fire
right.
your guns, and we'll have a chat hopefully 6 months from now.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, champion.
Cheatershandbook.com. That's Dark Horse, everybody. So, wow. Interesting.
Another
very-
fine moment brought to you by the vocal minority.
I don't feel right about that, but for some reason that was a fascinating interview. I mean, that guy's really put a lot of thought into all this.
Oh, it was, I mean, yeah, it was exactly what we talked about before the show of just like, yeah, this guy or the whole process is, fucked up, but this could be a good interview. It's very interesting. I mean, there's a lot of people who obviously cheat.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're going to get something from it. Brewski, are you a cheater?
No, I'm not.
Have
But
you ever?
Yes, I have.
What age?
Did
and
you
what?
get caught?
If we could declare that anyway.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. What age?
Yeah, we're
20s.
talking high school, 20. Yeah, okay,
No,
20.
like early 20s.
Okay. And
Yeah.
what
Did
was
you get
that
caught?
about?
Like,
You were
Dude, what's-
bored with what you were with, or is it like him,
Yeah.
or the thrill of the hunt, or what?
a little bit of both. I would say a little bit of both, Yeah, it's just one of those things where I was with somebody and we were together, but she wasn't really into it. I wasn't really into it. But now
So the relationship was starting to die on the vine, and then you started drifting elsewhere, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. See, this is what I'm saying. Like, if I ever got to that point, I would just end the relationship, because what a pain in the ass. Everything he just ran through, you've got to be James Bond to get away with it.
And I am the guy who I couldn't do it. I mean, I'd have to, I would go home and admit it. I just couldn't live with it. Why do you shake your head? You don't feel the same?
Who, me?
No, no,
Oh,
me.
Bruce,
He's talking
sorry.
about me. I'm saying no. No, because obviously, I mean, if you're being if you're feeling like that's what you need to do, it's kind of like saying, I feel sorry for murdering that person. Well, no, you didn't, because you thought about doing it and you did it. So don't try to come back to me afterwards and say you're sorry that you did it.
Well,
You
I would
know?
say that's true if you've murdered one person and felt bad. If you've murdered 10, you don't get to feel bad on the 10th murder. Like he was saying,
Sure.
some people cheat once and they feel terrible about it and they never do it again. And others, see they can get away with it or see the thrill of the hunt or whatever it is.
But see, I don't even believe that people cheat once and that's it.
I don't
And
either, for the record, by the way. But
yeah, and also I will say that usually people that cheat don't just cheat on relationships. Like those are the type of people that will cheat in like a board game. They'll cheat on their taxes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's all kind of part and parcel of how you live your life.
Yeah. Well, interesting. Yeah.
Hey, Brewski, can you pull your mic a little bit closer to you? Do you mind?
Not at all.
There you go.
Okay, great.
Well, fascinating, dude. Dark horse. It'd be fun to check in with him once in a while. I mean, the guy's got to get caught. It's just a matter of time, right? I mean, he's not going to have a perfect record.
Well, let's not cheer for the guy to get caught.
No, I'm not. Well, I don't. Actually, I kind of am, dude. I mean,
not me. I want to see. I want to see him go and go and go.
I would like his blog to live on long enough that, someday whoever is dating his daughter gets to buy, get some wisdom from Dark Horse, and then, does one of his.
Yeah, but the thing about it though is like, why does it have to be personal?
Well, listen, what he's doing right now, where he's saying that he's with other consenting adults who know he's cheating, it's close to being a swinger. I feel less, dirty listening to that story than just, I'm banging the coworker.
You don't think about his wife
married.
at all, dude?
No, listen, I'm not saying this is okay. I'm just saying, like he said, he's broken. What he's doing to his wife is obviously a terrible thing. But the women he's doing it with, at least they're all on the same page. He's not screwing everyone over. He's screwing his wife over, but he's doing the,
Brewski,
consenting adult thing with the others.
No, why? I don't know who she is. That's not my business. What do I care?
She's the mother of his children.
Yeah, in principle, not knowing her personally.
Yeah, so what?
No, listen, cheaters that have a family behind them or they're cheating with somebody who's married, I mean, you're a fucking homewrecker, and that's a terrible thing for sure.
If I was cheating on Rachel, you wouldn't care?
Well, my loyalty is to you, first and foremost, to be quite honest with you.
Bro code kicking in, huh?
Well, yeah, I mean, no, and I love Rachel, but at the same time, if she came to me and started saying to me, is Nick cheating on me? If I knew, I'm not going to say anything because I'm not going to give away your secrets. That's not my place to do that.
That's fair.
You know what? I feel the same way. I mean, I feel the same way as far as that goes. I just mean like you're friends with Rachel. Like if I told you like I've been banging all these chicks, like there wouldn't be a small part of you, just even when we got off the phone, that you'd be like, I feel kind of bad for her. She has no idea.
No, because that's me injecting myself in your personal business.
Yeah, okay, I get it. I'm not judging.
No,
I would feel bad for Rachel, but I would also wonder what's going on with you. Like, why are you doing this?
Yeah, I mean, if you came to me and you started asking me for advice and saying, "Hey, this is what I'm doing," now you're pulling me into the situation, and now you're asking for my feedback.
You're a good friend, Brewski.
It would be like if you came to me and
said.
If you came to me and said, I've developed this terrible heroin problem, I'm not going to call your wife and tell her, but I'm going to try to figure out what's going on with you, man, that you've all of a sudden started this. So
right.
There would be judgment on that level. And but no, I'm not going to go narking on you right away.
Yeah. No, I get it. I wouldn't narc either. I don't think I'd be able to step back and be like, oh, God, I feel bad for so-and-so. Like, that sucks. But I wouldn't say anything.
Yeah.
All right. You got my bro code. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
the
only time I would narc on anybody would be like say, for instance, I have a friend and he's got a drinking problem. And let's say he's drinking and I know that he's drinking and driving their kids around. Then I'm going to call the cop. I'm going to call a wife and say, hey, listen, by the way, Joey was out drinking and everything. And he's got the kid. He went and picked up the kids and he shouldn't have been driving. I tried to take the keys away. That's completely different because now you're not just, you're putting people's lives in danger at that point.
You ever had to make a hard call like that, Brewski?
To
narc on a friend, you mean, or what?
Yeah,
to like call his wife or her boy, whatever.
No, not at all. I haven't. Now I've been accused of like protecting people. And I've actually complained to other people who protected other people. In other words, they knew something was going on with someone close to me in my life.
I see.
And they didn't come to me, and it was a dangerous situation, and they didn't come and say something, and so that there was that. But no, I haven't had to knock on anybody.
Nick, can I tell you what?
A good friend of mine call me and say, "Hey, can I talk to you about something?" I was like, "Sure." We had just been over at his house a day or two before this, watching a football game.
Dude, I told you not to tell this story. What are you talking? It's different friend. Different friend. Sorry.
This is different. I was over at his house watching a football game, and wife was there. Bunch of people were there. Calls me the next day. Is like, "Can I talk to you about something?" I was like, "Sure." He was like, "I'm worried about you, man." And I was like, "Well, I appreciate that. What are you worried about?" He was like, "You got a little problem going?" And I was like, I don't know what you're referring to, dude.
Let me run down the list. Which one are you referring to?
Yeah, because I mean, according to my wife and my therapist, I have all kinds. What can you be more specific? He was like, "You're using heroin, yeah?"
Oh,
and I was like,
"What the hell?"
No, dude. No, I've never used heroin.
Needle marks on your arm? What the fuck is he looking at?
Oh, I see. And that's exactly, I was like, what makes you think that I'm doing heroin? It turns out his brother, who I'm also friends with, was over there that day, and he is an ex-heroin addict, and said, Nick seemed to be nodding off while we were watching that football game. Yeah. I was like, dude, I had a little bit to drink, and it's getting late in the day. I may have been a little tired, but no, I'm not doing heroin. He was like, "You can tell me. I just want the best for you. You can tell me." I'm like, "Dude, I've never done heroin. I'm not doing heroin. I appreciate your concern." And he went another 10 or 15 minutes. I finally had to say, like, "Dude, I'm going to fucking hang up on you. I'm not doing heroin. Like, I'm not
in denial, Nick. You're in denial."
Yeah, it was like that.
No, Nick was just watching a Washington Commanders game. That's all.
It was all of that. It was a boring football game.
Dude, Nick knows the story. When I first took over the radio station here, I did a bunch of firings and a bunch of hirings, and I hired this young lady who seemed like, she had a good sales background, seemed competent and all that, but she would be sitting in my office and we'd be doing sales training, and she would just start falling asleep. Like, I'd be talking and I would watch her eyelids go down and she would just be sleeping.
Yeah. She nodded off
multiple times.
It was like, "Hey, dude, so-and-so is nodding off during meetings," like while I'm asking her questions and talking to her.
I would be sitting there talking like, "It's all about the rule of three." Like, I know are you awake right now? Like, I'm talking to her and she's sleeping. And the first time it happened, I kind of poked at her. I was like, "Hello, are you awake?" And she was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm working overnight still, just transit." And I was like, "Oh, I've done that too. I get it. But it kept happening. The woman totally had a heroin problem.
And now we've never seen her again, dude.
No, that's how she was so thin. I now understand. So.
But that was an odd phone call for me to get, because it was someone who I care about a whole bunch and they care about me. It was, it was Dan who did that to me.
Yeah.
So
really?
Yes, dude. Oh. I've been friends with him for 25 years.
I was going to say, how far into the relationship was this? Early on, or
this was like 8 years ago. Wow. 7-8 years ago.
Wow. That's interesting.
And apparently, we've talked about it since, but he was just like, my brother, being an ex-heroin junkie, he came to me. So I thought, oh, he must know. So, and I was like, I appreciate your concern, dude. I'm glad you said something to me if you really thought that was happening.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was an odd, because I couldn't, it was just like he kept thinking I was just in denial.
Right.
It's just like, nope.
That is
so funny. Hey, Brewski, you went to a Hall Oates show last night? one of
I
my
did.
concerts. It's on my list, and I don't know why I've missed them because they come to the casinos and such. But I just have never pulled the trigger. Was it great?
No,
Was Daryl done? He can't hit high notes anymore, can he?
no, that's not it. Okay. So there's a guy I listen to locally here in Boston who has this story about how his father was a fan of the band The Police.
Okay.
And the Police played Fenway Park. And then when the Police played the show, they had a little, they took liberties with the songs. And my friend wanted to hear them a certain way.
Okay.
And he started yelling, "Boo, play them right." And I had so many play them right moments last night, like you wouldn't believe.
Oh, really?
Oh my God, yeah. Like you know, how there's a pacing to a song, and
Of course,
how
yeah.
and like when you start slowing the lyrics down, and it doesn't match where it's supposed to be in the song.
Yeah, these
and
guys are bored, obviously.
Yeah, you're 100% right, Steve, but it is a preference thing. Like there's a couple of groups out there, like the Counting Crows are a artist that they never do their songs the same way. They never do the album version of their song. They're always slowed down, and I like it from them. But my brother went to see them live and said he hated it. He couldn't even recognize the music. So
it's a play them right moments. And by the way, speaking of the Counting Crows, for Sister Brewski's 50th birthday, I got a cameo from Adam Duritz.
Oh wow.
And I will tell you, and I've seen other people do cameos.
Is that the video where the celeb like says, "Hey, happy birthday, Brewski"?
Exactly.
Wow, Adam Duritz did one, huh? He's
what
kind
he
of an
charged,
asshole.
150.
I was close. I think it was closer to 200.
Okay.
You know,
$200. That's it.
Yeah.
It's for a 60-second or a 30 or 60-second personal message.
That's cool though. I'd pay $200 to have my favorite celebrity say that.
Right.
Yeah. And I will tell you, he was so good on that. He kind of sang a little bit to my sister.
Wow.
And actually he kind of was like, you know, I'm usually on the road for my birthdays. And he said, I'm glad to hear that, you know, you're going to be hanging out with your brother who loves you very much and that sort of thing. And it was,
well, that's cool.
I'll send you guys the video itself. And he did a great job.
I have heard that he's
connections.
I have heard that he's an asshole. My brother-in-law met him at an airport and he was super rude to him. And then he was actually on the Howard Stern show and Stern told him, "Dude, you and I have been in public before and you're kind of a dick to fans." And he totally owned it. He was like, "Yeah, I am. I'm not into people approaching me and all that stuff." So
well,
it's cool that he did a nice video for you.
Yeah. Well, one of my favorite celebrities, female celebrities, who could do anything she wanted to me, and I would say, "Thank you, may I have another," Jennifer Lawrence, says that she's purposely rude to people who approach her for autographs because she doesn't want people.
She's a bitch.
No, because if she's out walking her kid in the stroller, she just had.
You can just say no thanks. You don't have to be a twat about it.
I guess, yeah.
That's funny. Well, a couple of Hall Oates things to circle back to that. First of all, one of our cannibal videos, the music I put behind it was Man Eater.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, lined
that
up.
ties together. I once had backstage passes to meet Hall Oates, and
Really?
I was so bored with the concert that I left. I didn't even want to go backstage to meet him when it was over.
Wow. How old were you?
I was working at a radio station in Detroit. This would have been 97.
Okay.
So it was, it was certainly on the tail end of their fame and all that, but
they hadn't become classic yet at that point. You know what I mean?
I guess, but it was Hall Oates, and I went to the concert, and our station was hosting some sort of backstage, meet and greet thing. So I had a pass to go back and be part of it, and I sat through 20 minutes of the concert, and I was like, I'd rather go home. This is good. I saw a little show.
Watch either of the two of you watched live at Daryl's or upstairs at Daryl's? Yeah.
Yeah. No. My favorite. A favorite episode?
What is it? What is it?
Oh, when Butch Walker was on and
no, not what the episode is. What is the show you're talking about?
Oh, okay.
He has other musicians come in and play. Like Pat Monahan went in and he plays with his studio band, and then Pat Monahan joins in. They'll sing some Train songs, and then they'll sing some Hall & Oates, and maybe they'll throw a couple other randos in there. But they just collaborate with each other's music.
I see.
Yeah,
it's a cool show.
Brewski?
Oh, when Butch Walker was on there and they sang "Say It Isn't So," I thought Butch Walker did a really great version of that. And the one when Chromeo was in there with him, that was a lot of fun too, because if you don't know Chromeo, they're a band out of Toronto, and they have a guy that's on the keyboards, and he uses that Peter Frampton tube in the mouth thing.
Yep.
And they did that. They did that for I Can't Go For That. Which
Oh,
was kinda
nice.
fun.
My favorite surprise episode was CeeLo Green.
Yeah, that was really good.
He was phenomenal, right? Because you don't get to see or hear CeeLo really sing very often, like, on The Voice or whatever. But he's incredible, dude. He's quite the singer. I mean,
he did I Can't Go For That, and when when the song starts out, he hits some really big notes, and it didn't sound out of the ordinary or out of place for that song. It sounded like it belonged.
Agreed.
Hey, Nick, do you remember what our original producer, Mensa, what he thought the name of the group Hall & Oates was? Which is, of course, Daryl Hall and John Oates. Hall and Oates.
Yeah, I mean, if you picture it with a wheelbarrow, like he thought you were hauling oats.
Hauling Oates is what he thought the name of that group was. Hauling Oates. It's a farmer.
What a stupid fucking thing for someone who's in Mensa to say, dude.
Right.
Now was he really a Menson, or did you guys call him that because it was an opposite nickname?
No, I mean, I don't know that he ever got certified by Mensa, but he was a smart kid, so we called him Mensa.
Okay.
And he's a good dude.
I think he was certified, dude.
You think
I think
so?
he was certified, yeah.
Okay. I know he wasn't an American. I know that.
Yeah, he was born in Israel, I think, but he's all over. He's all over the country, all over the world now, doing diplomatic things with ambassadors, and takes his family over. That was the producer that we had on the air, and when his parents were able to tune in, Steve talked for about 20 minutes about how he was railing his girlfriend in the ass and wouldn't shut up about it, and you could just tell how uncomfortable he was, which just charged Steve up even more. So.
Oh my gosh,
we had a lot of fun with him. You know what I realized the other day when I posted on my personal Facebook page about the vocal minority coming back? Big Man, one of our old producers, he gave it a like, he gave it a thumbs up, but I didn't see anything from Mensa. I didn't see any words of encouragement or a thumbs up there. So I don't
and
know
I see his shit.
Say that again.
I see his shit, so I know he sees it, dude.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me.
You think he's a little salty?
I don't think he's salty. I just think that he doesn't want to lay down with dogs, so to speak.
He's above that by now, huh?
Yes.
He's grown up. Yeah, sure.
Yes.
I don't think he's listening right now either. I don't think either of those guys are, quite frankly. They both eventually became morally outraged by what Nick and I were doing.
What?
So
can I ask a question? Did the big man really become like this crazy Christian freak?
Yes. Yeah.
That's
so much is so. And I mean, what you're into, but I mean, I had conversations with that guy that I know God was listening. So he knows the truth, big man. So that guy, Rachel and I, when we were going to get married, we asked him, hey, would you do the ceremony?
Yeah.
And he was like, oof, no, couldn't do it. And he had already married Steve.
Yeah, I was there for that.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was like,
I think he felt bad about that. It didn't go so well, so he didn't want to do it to anyone else again.
Yeah. Well, I think that he told me that, God wouldn't agree with him being ordained anymore and, performing a marriage ceremony. And we had him over for dinner, dude. And I asked him, and that was the reason he gave us at the dinner table. Rachel and I were both sitting there like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me right now?
That is weird.
Well, I want to know, do you think God would have been okay with him or being ordained if he went out and did a little kid touching?
Wait, what?
That was another producer question of edgy, dude. Listen, you're talking about being a Catholic.
Whoa. I don't want to make any accusations here or pretend like we're trying to connect dots.
No. I'm
a little legally conscious right now.
Oh, no, he's talking about Catholic priests, dude.
Exactly.
Okay, I thought you were. making
No.
some joke that maybe, okay.
No, he was
No,
talking
no,
about
no.
Catholic priests. Like,
Okay.
God seems
Yeah.
to be okay with that.
My
It's
lawyer's
very
already making double time out of me right now. So
No. See, me being an Irish Catholic guy from Boston,
Yeah.
Nikki being Catholic, we can make those jokes about our religion.
Yes,
and that sort
I
of
just
thing,
thought you were connecting it to a specific human that we were just talking about. So
No, I
was
was
Okay.
asking in general. Would
You
God
see,
be?
I do understand the slander laws, so I know how to avoid them.
No,
Are you
my
still
whole
listening?
Right.
my question was, God would have been okay with him being ordained if he was engaging in kid touching.
I see.
Right.
Yes. Well, deep thoughts.
Deep
Nick, I have
thoughts.
one last. I know you're trying to move me on, so I don't put my foot any further in my mouth. I'm done with the crazy exes out there listening, but I do need to reference the fact that we do have other friends and family listening. And one
Yeah.
of them is an ex, but it's my ex-wife and her new guy, Charlie.
Oh,
Hey,
Yes.
Hi, guys.
We have two new loyal listeners, my ex-wife Jamie and her new guy Charlie, who we've talked about on the show multiple times. Not always in the most flattering terms, but then life has evolved. So,
Which is all.
Charlie, how you
let me-
doing, there, kid?
right?
Let me tell you that it is. There's something to that when you told me that James. Can I say her name?
Yeah, she's good.
Uh,
He just
okay.
did.
When you told me that Jammers had been listening, there
Yeah.
was something nostalgic that came out of me because she
Yeah.
was kind of like a den mother for our
Yes.
original show.
She was
like-
around for the whole original incarnation of the show,
Yes, and she
which
would
is why
hang
she's
out
not
and-
mad at me. She
Yes.
basically said, like, I'm aware of what you guys do on the show. So, I can't be that angry. I was there for the incarnation of it all. And she obviously gave it to Charlie because he wouldn't have known how to find us. So she clearly sent him. But he's
What do
listened
you
to
mean
every
he
show.
wouldn't have known how to find us? Like, you
How
have
would he
to
know what
seek
show
this
to look
show
up?
out?
Oh, yes,
Is,
Nick.
is that what you're saying?
This isn't just knowledge everyone has. Somebody has to tell you the show is there, and then you have to choose to expose yourself to it.
I get it. Okay,
I don't have to
go ahead.
contact everyone directly to get them to listen to this. Someone's
I'm
got to
sorry.
tell you.
Okay.
That would be exhausting and weird if I was just contacting people to tell them, go listen to my show.
So Charlie started listening, and like Steve mentioned a minute ago, like not everything that we've said about Charlie was flattering, and times have changed and everything else. But also, I think I would like to make an official apology because there's been a part of me that's felt bad. I said something a little off key when I think it was probably the first time we were talking about him.
Yes. So listen, when we first brought Charlie up, I was still with my ex. Jamie and Charlie and I had not had our come to Jesus. We hadn't buried the hatchets, had any apologies. And the way I found out about Charlie, Charlie was in prison for 22 years for felony murder. When he and a friend were, messed up teenagers, they robbed someone. The other guy had a gun. They killed the guy. So he went to jail for felony murder for 22 years. And the way I found out about it was really unfortunate. Like Jamie and Charlie didn't tell me. Months after I met him, a private investigator that his ex-wife had hired showed up and spilled the beans. That, hey, your wife's with a guy out on parole for murder. That's
We
how
were
it was
all in
explained to me.
shock.
So, of course, that was shocking to me. And, of course, I wasn't happy about it. So yeah, we had brought up the story about him being in prison. And, Nick, what did you say? Or what was your question?
Well, we were talking about wanting to talk with him. And I was just kind of listing off some things I think that were like, these are things that we want to know if we could get him on the show.
Right.
You've had to have been raped. You've had to have been this. You've had to have been that. So I'm sorry, Charlie. Okay. Listen, I realize now that you have not been raped. And for that, I'm thankful. And I'm sorry I just kind of spewed that out. It wasn't so much that I was thinking that had to have happened to you. It's, I guess, the curiosity, because the only experience I have is movies and what I hear. So
Listen,
there
it's
was
not
a
an
lot of that.
unfair thing to wonder. Obviously, we all hear the stories about prison life, and
Sure.
quite frankly, my ex-wife's favorite movie is Shawshank Redemption, in which
Yes.
terrible things do happen in there. So it's not unreasonable to bring up. But as we said then, we didn't know that to be true. And Charlie just randomly the other day texted me and is like, "Hey, interesting podcast. And by the way, no, I've never been raped." And I was just like, "Oh boy, he's
Yeah.
listening." You want to know what's weird?
He-
I got a text from Charlie right now. Like his ears are burning. Like he that's weird. Because Charlie and I are buddies now. And this has all come a long ways because when I went through this terrible breakup a few months ago, Jamie and Charlie were good human beings to me. They extended, invitation to their home and gave me a mattress to sleep on. And as soon as they understood my ex was screwing around with our kids, they didn't take very kindly to that. So Jamie and Charlie and I have now come a very long ways in these last few months, and we've all been spending time together. We've done things with the kids together, so everything's good. But yeah, they are listening out there, and that's fun.
Here's my criteria. Okay. Because I have met Charlie briefly.
Yes.
But if you are good to people that I care about, I'm on board, dude. We'll figure it out. Right.
Yeah. It would have been super petty of me to keep that grudge going. Because first of all, not only did they show me humanity and civility and empathy, but Charlie then apologized to me for how I found out. He was
big, right?
Yeah, he was able to look at it from my perspective and say, like, gee, you found out of the blue, out on murder, like that's pretty serious stuff. So he basically said, like, we shouldn't have told you. We should have told you. You shouldn't have found out that way. And that's all I wanted to hear.
Yes.
I've been waiting forever for somebody to say, like, that was messed up. We should have just been honest with you. So we've also come a very long ways.
He's stuck with it. And like, Steve will tell me every now and again, like, oh, I don't know what he just texted you, but hey, Charlie will check up on me today. Just wanted to make sure I was doing good.
Yes.
I'm down with that, dude. I think that, that's a nice way to treat people. So yes. I get it.
He reaches out to me, not only because he's had issues with women before too, and can understand how crazy bad breakups go, and but also being a dad. He's got a little kid, and he and I talk dad stuff, and he is in a stepfather role. I mean, he and Jamie aren't officially married. I don't know if it's going that way or not, but he and I are in this unique position of being the parental, male influences in my kids' lives. So of course it's good that we have a good relationship. So that's all well and good.
Hey, it's what you guys said you were gonna do. Right.
Yes. And we're doing it. And they both said, we've been listening, and no, we don't hate you. And, we're not undoing any of the progress that we've done. And I appreciate that because this show can piss people off. So that's good. Now, I did ask him if he wanted to come on the show, and he understandably declined. Basically,
for now.
He said maybe down the road, but he's got people in his world that he needs to worry about, and he doesn't want to come on here and be anything but honest, but he doesn't want to then say something that could be, used against him in other ways in his life. So, totally get it.
He's pleading the fifth.
Yes. I am going to do one test right now, though, to see if he's listening to this particular podcast.
Please.
So I'm going to ask him a question that I was going to ask him during the interview. But since that's being put off to some unknown date, I just want to see if I get a text answer to this one of these days.
All right.
So the question is, Charlie, have you ever been in a Metallica video? That's a real question. And he either knows exactly what I'm talking about, or he thinks that's the weirdest question ever. But, Brewski, do you know why I would ask that question?
I do.
You're a music fan.
Yeah, but I don't know. No, I don't know.
I do.
Nick, why would I ask if Charlie specifically has ever been in a Metallica video?
Because they did a video there at San Quentin.
Yes.
Yeah.
Metallica film.
Charlie was there.
Yes. Metallica filmed the Saint Anger video at San Quentin in the early 2000s, which, if my math is correct, Charlie must have been there at the time. So were you in the video? Were you aware it was happening? Because they filmed it in the yard with a bunch of inmates, and then they went inside the prison with all the tower stacked cells by them, and they put on a concert for San Quentin. So even if you weren't in the video, you had to have heard the Metallica.
You heard them playing, right?
And heard them. So
I mean, unless you were in an entirely different cell block, maybe you just heard what a day it was. But you know something about it.
And by the way, that would be the coolest fucking thing ever if you've been in a Metallica video.
That's fucking street cred right there, right? I saw Metallica at a venue that most people will never see him.
Right.
San Quentin.
Exactly.
Johnny Cash. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I will update you guys on a future episode if I get a text response to that randomly someday. So
please do.
It's out there in the ether.
Yes.
All right. My mom's listening. My exes are listening. My ex-wife is listening. Charlie's listening. I think I've kept the kids at bay so far, but
what does your mom think of the program?
I can't get solid feedback out of her other than she doesn't like how much I swear. So,
Steven.
Right. That's a very.
Hey, I'll tell you this: that for the original incarnation of this show, it was on Seattle Airwaves, where my family all lives. There were a couple of times that people asked, my dad, if he listened to me on the show. And I think he probably tuned in maybe once or twice to this show, and probably for about 30 seconds.
Right.
When he realized it was not for him, he was like, I did my dad duty and I'm going to turn it off because that's trash.
That's what I'm hoping for. But people keep seeming to tune in because, again, I can see you watching and listening to this. So I can tell which one of you have listened once versus multiple times. So, you're listening to me, but I'm watching you.
You hear that, Mama Harness?
Yeah, all of you. So it's fun stuff.
Well,
all right. So, hey, speaking of us going global, going worldwide, we are trying to grow this show into eventually a 5-day-a-week full-on podcast. We want to, make our living off this and all that. And we had talked about that we're less than 30 days into this, yet, YouTube page, over 10,000 people. Our one of our Facebook videos is about to hit 8,000 views, and they flagged us as a high potential reach, page and all that.
Yep.
Gentlemen, we got our first endorsement offer of sorts.
Wow.
Yes.
Fantastic, dude. What are we camping? What are we doing? We're
for this show
cars for somebody.
There's a long list of things that we could be endorsing, right? I mean, first of all, I'm waiting for fucking Kawasaki to call me. I've got to, come on. What the hell? Or Fox Racing, nobody wants to have an endorsement on the front of my bike there. Like,
we asked Hooters a long time ago. We haven't received one gift certificate.
Nothing from Hooters. How about Paul Reed Smith guitars? My beautiful Paul Reed Smith. How about K2 skis back here? No, none of these people. I don't know, Billabong, graphics, any of these companies could certainly be calling us.
Why hasn't Dave Matthews reached out to me yet?
Exactly. The amount of exposure you're giving to Dave Matthews.
Tony Danza, where the hell are you?
Exactly. Yeah. I'm expecting a call from Phil's Coffee. I expect an unlimited lifetime supply, but no, none of these people have reached out. Brewski, we have been asked to endorse a line of dog scarves.
Oh, okay. Very
that's
nice.
A very specific dog item, by the way.
It is.
A scarf, not a leash, not a harness. A dog harness would make sense with me, Steve.
It would, yes.
Yeah.
But no, we've been asked to endorse a line of dog scarves. You got to start.
They look like handkerchiefs, Brewski.
Okay.
A cowboy would wear when he was sneaking into a bank.
Yeah.
But it goes around their neck. Mm-hmm. And there's all kinds of different ones to it. Do we say they're going to send you some stuff?
Well, I was going to say, until we've officially signed, I'm not going to give any free publicity out here for dog scarves. But
let's hold off.
Yeah. How did they come upon us? And
Instagram. They found us on social media.
Upon us.
Yeah.
And then how did they feel as though we would be good to promote their brand?
They're clearly looking for any influencers out there, such as ourselves, any content creators.
They said to Steve, we see you have a very large reach.
Yes. And I've been talking about my cat, so they obviously thought we'd be a good fit for a dog scarf. So,
well, I have to go and get a dog now. I mean, just have to.
Can you wear one for the whole show, Brewski? Would that be insulting or?
No, not at all. I'd do it.
Nick,
you get a dog and name it Rupert?
No.
My name is Rupert.
Please, Brewski.
If I got an English
any breed of dog you want, if you name it Rupert.
If I had an English bulldog, then yes, I would name it Rupert.
Nick, are you willing to bring your dog Oliver into the show and whore him out that way to have him model dog scarves for us?
I am, dude. When I told Rachel about this, it seemed like we just hit the lottery. She was like, "You guys made it!" She was so excited. She was like, "I love it."
When they first reached out, I thought they were a pet supply company. So I'm like, I could use some free cat food or kitty litter or something. Sure. But then Nick's like, dude, they sell dog scarves exclusively.
Yes. So unless you want your pooch to look really cute or he's going to rob a bank.
If you want, so my aunt actually has, I believe, 7 or 8 Siberian Huskies.
Oh,
and we could get some really good photos of her pack wearing their scarves.
Nice. Well,
you see, Rolex, this is how hard we would work for you.
Yeah, exactly.
If you were to reach out to us, like we would do all these great things. Brewski's aunt, not aunt, has Huskies, and we would put Rolexes on them or scarves. Yeah. We will go all out. I'll bring my dog Oliver on the air. He looks great in a frickin' hanky.
And my godson Owen is actually in Alaska right now with a team that is going to be racing in the Iditarod.
Wow, dude, that's actually very impressive.
Yeah. So he's the handler for the dogs. He teaches at a sled dog camp every year, and
that's fascinating. Will he come on the air with us?
I can reach out to him and see if he'd like to connect with us. Yeah.
That's quite a race, Brewski. Do you know what it is, Harness?
I do. The Iditarod, yeah.
Yeah.
World famous sled dog race up there in Alaska.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That'd be cool.
So
and if his dogs get cold, I've got an excellent line of scarves we could recommend once the paperwork signed.
They wouldn't be cold from here down.
That's right. Exactly. Well, so there you go, gentlemen. So clearly our influence is spreading around the world. So I'll let you know when we get our first shipment, and we'll go from there.
Brewski, any check-ins from your son?
Well, this time of year, it's kind of tough for us. We play a lot of like text tag because he's so busy because it's football season. And he works for a major Division I football program, and he's working 14-hour days cutting up film, and
wow. Okay, so
by the way, gentlemen, speaking of being able to see the map, we've got multiple people in the town that Brewski's son lives in now listening to us. So I'm curious, Brewski, is he telling other people? Is he listening on multiple devices? Which should work, actually. They have a way of eliminating that. So
yeah, I'm not sure. He may have shared with what I would hope that he would share. He works for the Minnesota Golden Gophers, and I'm hoping that he's sharing with the team, and we get as many of those guys from the Gophers listening to the show.
Nice. Go Gophers! Come on!
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And they're downloading a lot there in the greater Minneapolis area, so they're listening to this stuff. I can tell. So
well, that's good.
They're listening in the locker room, I bet, dude. That's where we sound best.
Little Eye of the Tiger going on here. We're motivational, Nick. Very motivational.
Reverb going on. We sound great in the locker room, fellas.
People see how I'm getting all buffed up, and football players get very inspired by it.
You've been working out like a bad boy lately, dude. Steve, what would you guess, Brewski, that Steve Harness's weight is right now?
175.
Cool. That's pretty damn close.
You're fairly close, dude. What was your high school weight, Harness?
I was in my 170s in high school, and I was a skinny thing then. And my body mass index weight, or whatever it's supposed to be, is about 190. I currently weigh 179. Like, I'm actually trying to gain some weight, because not only did I work out, and I'm eating smarter, but then I got horribly depressed a few months ago from some random event. That dropped my weight down, stopped eating and all that, but I'm through that shit now. So I just need to bulk up.
You hear that? Are you still there?
Yeah, there was a correspondence of late that just pushed me over my edge of like, you know what, fuck that. So
Can you hear us now? Can you hear us now?
Yes, I'm free of depression, but yeah, I'm trying to bulk back up. I won't get into the full details. Well, I guess I'll admit this. I started a new medication. Apparently, my exes have been talking to a lot of people. The medical community came to me, and apparently my package is so enormous that for the good of all womankind, they put me on a medication to decrease the size of my unit down to just normal extra large. Because right now it's like triple XL, and that's just it's disrupting governments around the world.
You're gonna have to buy all new condoms.
Oh, you're telling me, man. You're telling me.
I mean, I feel bad for you, dude. This is
going to be such a pain in the ass. Or less so now when the medication kicks in for whoever. But anyways, my point is I started this medication that made me horribly sick. And I have just for the last 5 days now been spending a lot of time. Oh, geez, my sound effects are all messed up.
Fix my diaper, Daddy.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I was trying to get at. Anyways, I've had digestive issues for the last several days. I've lost like 8 pounds in the last 5 days here.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Isn't that something?
It's terrible. It's terrible.
Hot dogs! Get your hot dogs here!
Oh, Brewski's back in the
I'll take it, man.
Lounge,
I've intentionally been eating at Taco Bell and McDonald's again. Like, I know this is a weird problem that most people can't relate to, but I'm trying to gain weight. So
yeah, Steve told me that as I'm sitting next to him with my fucking fat roll over my thighs, and he realizes, oh, I guess that's that's not a problem I should be really complaining about. Yeah, Steve, Brewski and I both got something to give you. All right.
Yeah.
Let's get back into the tips of you fucking starting to eat not as smart.
All right. I'm doing my best. To bulk up. So
some late night Mountain Dew, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Someone get me some Cheetos.
I have been drinking tons of Phil's coffee. I don't know if that's adding to my problems or not.
No, that's a diuretic,
man.
dude.
Oh, smooth, creamy Phil's.
Peanuts, get your roasted peanuts here. Sweaty sack of nuts.
Wow, Britsky's working hard today, dude.
All right.
Well, should we end the program now, boys?
No.
Good.
End the program? No.
Yeah.
We have news to talk about.
That's why I thought you were trying to end it.
No. I'm not trying to end it.
You're telling such a depressing story. I just thought you were trying to get out.
I do have some fast food stories if we just want to connect some dots. You just want to jump in
yeah.
the news or whatnot?
Yeah.
All right. I don't know what the recurring theme is here with fast food, but a couple of things.
Get your hot dogs here. Long way.
Okay, so first of all, I'll take one. Are you guys aware that fast food restaurants clock how long it takes you to go through a drive-through?
Every time?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised.
They have actual computers set up. So I was recently staring into the McDonald's drive-through window, and I've seen this a lot in fast food places. They have a clock going that when everyone gets to the window, the clock resets, and so they can sit there and have a gauge. Like this guy's been 90 seconds, 2 minutes, 3 minutes.
Okay.
And they have quotas they're supposed to be hitting. But one of the local McDonald's, they have this weird. This is almost like Orwellian kind of fucked up kind of thing. They have, I can see on the screen, they're sharing their information with other McDonald's around the country. And they're racing or comparing themselves to other drive-thrus, a McDonald's in Dallas, Texas, a McDonald's in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Really?
Yes.
And you'll get a bonus if you're the fastest McDonald's in America?
Or you'll get fired if you're the slowest. I don't know what the motivation is, but
I think they have a set standard that they have, which is we want orders completed beginning to end in a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
And if you fall below that, then that's
but isn't that kind of messed up? It's like they're the Big Brother thing, comparing you to other McDonald's around the world. Like, look at what they're doing in Fort Worth. You guys are slow there.
I kind of like it, dude. I mean, it would motivate me. There's not much to motivate you in the McDonald's drive-thru, so we need a little motivation.
Well, so from CNN, this is an article about the fastest drive-through lines. Every second counts in drive-through lanes for fast food chains. A recent study showed that Chick-fil-A had the slowest one, but only because it's so popular and there's so many cars in the line. They break this down. So here's the deal. Taco Bell led the pack in speed of service with an average time of 221 seconds.
From order to pickup?
Yes.
Okay.
Followed by Dunkin' Donuts, KFC, and Arby's. But this metric doesn't factor in the number of cars in line. In that category, Chick-fil-A is the clear leader with 16% of its line surveyed counting 10 or more cars. McDonald's, which was in second place, only had 2% of that many customers. So,
because there's so many of them, dude. I mean, there's so many Mickey D's. There's so few Chick-fil-A's, at least in Seattle. I mean,
places like Chick-fil-A or Fat Burger or some of these places are notorious for getting really long lines. So their wait times would obviously be longer. So they're saying based on the total time cars spent in line, Chick-fil-A actually comes out first with an average of 107 seconds. McDonald's came in second at 118, Taco Bell third, Arby's fourth.
Taco Bell seems like really easy food to serve.
Yeah.
It's all just sitting in pots. You know what I mean? You're scooping and pooping.
Yes, that is true. Now, first of all, gentlemen, can I ask you, what is your opinion on Chick-fil-A?
I wouldn't eat there. I have before, but I wouldn't now.
I think it's highly overrated.
I have never eaten at Chick-fil-A because they're new to my area, and by the time they came here, I was well aware of the owner's homophobic bullshit that they fund and preach and all that stuff. So, out of respect for every gay person on this planet, I have never gone to eat at a Chick-fil-A, and I never will. And it's messed up. My ex, I caught her with a Chick-fil-A cup in her car.
And this was something liberal you did?
Yes.
Wow.
And this is something we had all discussed openly at the dinner table. Like, fuck Chick-fil-A. None of us will ever eat there. And then, I totally caught her sneaking Chick-fil-A.
It seems like something she'd just throw at you and hide from you.
Well, but you know what? Sometimes
progressive liberal. Yeah, right.
But you hear everyone raving about how awesome this and that is, and after a while you get really too curious.
Hey, Brewski, I can tell you a lot of guys that'll rave about sodomy. Does that mean you're going to go give it a try on a Friday night? You know?
Well,
His
yeah.
eyes
You
are
want,
big.
you want silence? Sorry, it was too much.
I don't really tell tales out of school, but
I know a lot of guys that'll rave about giving a blowjob. It doesn't mean I'm going to run out and go do one just because people say
No,
Chick-fil-A is awesome.
Where did that come from, dude? You know what he's talking about. People will rave about fast food. You go try it. I tried Chick-fil-A before I knew there was a hatred of gay and queer people. But this is what I will say is that prior to that, I had tried it maybe 2 times. And I feel the same way about Brewski. What the fuck is so special about this Chick-fil-A?
Oh, really? Because everyone.
So
raves
it was
about
easy. I mean, I would have given it up regardless, but it was easy to give up. I don't know.
yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
Well, good to know. Apparently, they're fast and prejudiced. So weigh those 2 things in. Now, here's another fast food story for you guys that I find to be interesting. Do you guys miss Happy Meals? Is that something you're missing from your lives?
Well,
Not for me, no.
I get one every now and again, and I know the story that you're
Wait,
going to
what?
talk about.
You get happy for yourself?
Yeah.
How's that enough food for you?
Let me tell you
And why?
This is the scenario. Okay. I've had lunch. I drive to go to the grocery store to go get stuff for dinner. It's just like 4th meal, you know, like
I
it's
guess,
just
yeah.
a little snack
It's a snack.
between
Yeah, okay.
lunch.
Why
and
wouldn't you
dinner.
just get a single cheeseburger or something? Why
Because
a
I
Happy
just
Meal?
want a small amount of fries, a small cheeseburger, because I always put my fries on the cheeseburger, and then I just want a small Coke, dude. It's
And you
a
want the
perfect
toy,
thing.
right?
I get the toy to give to my niece, or sometimes I do keep it. So I am
Sometimes I go
excited
down to the
about what you're
park,
talking
and then
about.
I've got some toys in my car. All right, so the reason I bring this up, on the menu at McDonald's, a big heaping dose of nostalgia with a modern twist. The fast food giant is serving up Happy Meals for adults, which include toys.
You know what the toys are, though?
Mm.
They're pretty fantastic.
No, they're bullshit is what they are.
Well, Brewski,
What are they? Go ahead, tell me.
So you get Hamburglar, you can get Grimace. They're all the old
The nostalgia
school,
stuff.
you know, McDonald's characters. Who's the girl,
Except-
Brewski?
Except they put extra eyes on them. What the fuck's that all
Yeah,
about?
I'm against that too. They've got 3 sets of eyes on them.
What is that?
And
about?
I don't like that. But one thing I'm even more confused about, and maybe I'm dropping this big time, but why are they calling it a cactus meal?
I have no idea.
No, that I do know
Let me see
that.
if this offers an answer. Go ahead, Brewski.
Well, I do know that back a few months ago, or maybe a year ago, the hip hop artist Travis Scott,
Yeah.
he had a special order at that you could get at McDonald's, and he would say, "Tell him you want the Cactus Jack meal."
Maybe that's what it is. They're calling it a cactus
No,
box.
so here it is. It says hipsters already know that Cactus Plant Flea Market is a streetwear brand popularized by Kanye West and Pharrell.
Oh, fuck Kanye West.
Yeah, fuck Kanye West is right. So maybe I won't be ordering it. I mean, does he have anything to do with it?
I don't think so. I think they're saying it's some sort of a reference for nostalgia purposes. I don't know.
He's not a good one to climb on right now, Mickey D's.
No, for
No,
sure.
not at all.
Can I tell you,
actually-
speaking of, go ahead, Brewski.
I was gonna say real quick. I actually had somebody get in my car on Saturday night, a male adult, probably mid to late 20s, who had one of those adult Happy Meals.
Oh, really? So you've seen them
Yes.
firsthand. You can get nuggets in them. You can get a burger.
Yeah, it's a bigger size box.
Yeah,
And-
yeah.
and-
I'll be
and,
getting one at some point. I'll save it and show it to you guys just for proof. What about Kanye West, dude? Did you guys see what he did with the whole White Lives Matter shirt?
Well, White Lives Matter, but then he tweeted something about going after all the Jews. Like,
Yeah,
what
actually-
the hell?
Well, it's funny because he actually said he was gonna go DEFCON 1.
Yes.
Yes, on
Then-
all
wait a minute.
Jews.
No, but wait a minute. He said death, DEATH, as opposed to DEFCON,
Right.
which is the and
The
you would
correct
think
term.
that, and you would think that someone that had been on that's a hip hop artist would know about Def Jam.
Maybe he's making fun of deaf people too, dude. He's trying to get a couple of groups in there.
or maybe he really does mean that he's going to start killing Jewish people. Maybe
Yeah.
it's possible.
I mean, the guy's full of nothing but hot air, so I don't think he's actually going on some sort of genocide rant. But
Did you see him
he's a
on his
moron.
Tucker Carlson interview? Did you watch it?
No, but I did see a funny thing how the Fox News morning show was defending Kanye, and then this tweet came out, and they all had to pull back, basically, and be like, hey, never mind. Maybe we're not such big Kanye fans.
Well, and you know what's funny is he wants to talk like a tough guy, but he started running his mouth towards a guy named Daz Dillinger.
Yeah.
And Daz Dillinger is a full-on hip-hop artist. He has a song called The Dog Pound Gangsta. And when Daz Dillinger was like, you know what, you keep running your mouth and I'm going to pop a cap in your ass. And he knows that that's serious. All of a sudden, Kanye like beefs up the security, gets a restraining order, you know, because he knows that there's somebody that could really blow a hole in him. And then all of a sudden he shuts his mouth.
Yeah.
See,
He's an idiot, dude. For sure.
That's what you got to do with these people like that want to run their mouth. You know, talk shit, get hit, you know?
Right. Kanye.
Listen, he was on. So I did watch the Tucker Carlson interview.
Yeah.
And as you guessed, what a pile of shit. I mean, now you have two turds sitting there talking about the same shit and just licking each other's butts. Kanye West had a lanyard on him that had a picture of a sonogram, and it was obvious that it was a sonogram. And Tucker Carlson's like, what's this badge you're wearing on your shirt? He was like, it's a sonogram. And he was like, why would you have a sonogram on a badge like that? And Kanye goes in. I mean, it was so set up. And he's like, because I'm pro-life and, you're killing God's children. He started talking about how like 80% of all, I think, quote me on the number between 80 and 85%. It was one of the two, I believe, that 80 to 85% of all black children are aborted in New York City.
Wow.
Does that make any sort of sense to you?
No, come on.
No.
Can't be right?
I heard that 100% of stats quoted by Kanye West are false. That's a new stat I just came up with.
Probably true. It was such a terrible interview. Fox News has been on fire lately. I've been anxious to get both of your opinions on old Herschel.
Herschel Walker down in Georgia.
Say again?
Herschel Walker down in Georgia?
Yes.
Yeah. I think Herschel spent too much time taking hits on the gridiron. And I mean, he was already not a smart person to begin with. And he didn't get into Georgia because they thought he was going to go to class either. He got into Georgia because he was a good running back.
Right.
And I think over the years, especially because he played football at a time when they taught you to put your head down as a running back and initiate contact. I think he's taken a lot of head trauma, and
concussion was not a concern in his day, but I don't know if that's what's made him completely stupid now, but he's getting in all sorts of trouble with the women out there that he's paid for abortions with, supposedly.
But the other part of that is that if you look at his history, he's had a history of serious mental illness, and in particular, there are all the hallmarks of the beginning stages of CTE, where you start having those rages and you become
violent.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm not trying to make light of it, but I wouldn't be surprised if we find out maybe 5 years from now that he has full-blown CTE.
Yeah, I mean, the way that he's treating his family and that his family's treating him, I mean, obviously that's a troubled family. Saturday Night Live came at it again. So great this weekend, dude. And they had Keenan playing Herschel being interviewed. And he was basically running on the platform of like a kid in school. Like, we'll have Cheetos on Fridays, like Taco Bell in the gymnasium. And it was a great skit.
I think this comes down to the fact that Trump endorsed him because he was famous. And now
Right.
everyone's realizing he's a fucking train wreck, but we've already endorsed him, and now he's the candidate. Because there are all sorts of politicians flying down to Georgia right now to try to have his back. And
Well,
God, sometimes I feel bad for Republicans, the people you have chosen to align yourselves with.
Yes.
You, speaking of going home and showering after a dirty experience, I can only imagine after every rally, some of these Republicans must go home and just think, where did I go wrong in my world that I'm out defending Herschel Walker and Donald Trump, rapists, and all this crap, you know?
well,
I
but
always wonder when you see like Lindsey Graham. I mean, we've all seen the clips of how he actually feels about Donald Trump.
Yes.
And when he finally sold his soul into this whole thing, he's got to feel that way. I mean, unless he actually is soulless, you know, he's got to feel that way at some point.
well, a couple things. First of all, with Herschel, his first professional team was with the New Jersey Generals of the USFL, and the owner of the New Jersey Generals, which was trying to compete with the NFL back in the 80s, was Donald Trump. And so and so they had that relationship going back that far. Now, as far as Lindsey Graham goes, I think Trump has incredible amounts of dirt on Lindsey Graham that David Pecker and all the PIs at the National Enquirer dug up. And unlike other people in DC who might know some dirty secrets about Lindsey Graham, who would keep it quiet and to themselves, I think Trump has told him, listen, you do exactly as I tell you, or I'm going to let everything out. And the thing about it is, Graham knows that Trump would let everything out, and he can't allow that to happen.
It would make sense. I mean, the flip to flop was so great. There are no gray areas in the flip to flop that would make sense. So
here's the thing. Everyone keeps assuming that somehow the laws of normal politics will catch up with Donald Trump. And I still can't figure out why they haven't. But there are multiple incidents, whether it's the first impeachment or the riots and the second impeachment, where Republicans think to themselves, this has to be it. Everyone's done with him. And then they start to be honest. And then somehow the Teflon Don survives, and then they all have to do this mea culpa where they're like, oh, I know I said that to some reporter, but no, now I think Donald's the best. And it's just so, I mean, I know politicians are famous for not having spines, but it's just taking it to new heights to watch people bend over backwards so that Trump can bend them over.
Well, I think what it is they know that the Republican Party is out of ideas. They don't want to appeal to the most voters around the country. They just want to appeal to their people. And they know they can't win elections by just appealing to their people.
Yeah.
And so they have to get power any way they can. And going with Trump and cheating is how they're going to do it.
I hate to put this on you, Brewski, but it has become like professional wrestling. I mean, there has to be a storyline to this whole thing. And when we look back in hindsight, there's always a freaking storyline that was set up, and they play the part to it. We also have to keep in mind that a little less than half of this country thinks that this is the change that America needs, which is so crazy to me. You know, we started all of this out with like, I'd vote for a guy who runs, you know, who's a billionaire. He's a businessman. We need a businessman in office. Well, you didn't do your due diligence, first of all, to see what kind of businessman he actually is. But then when you turned out
a
that
failed businessman is still a businessman, though.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. When you turn the page and realize that he's a ringleader in a circus, when do you pull away? Like, why is this the hill you're going to continue to die on? I met a guy at one of Rachel's work functions who was like, listen, he's come up with some good policies. I think he's a piece of shit for a person, but I'd still rather have him in there. I'm like, see, again, with this, the morality of this man that you are willing to put up with for a couple of policies that you enjoy.
Power.
I don't buy that. I hear
power.
that a lot. You know, I don't like Trump, but he gave me my conservative judges and my tax cuts. Any fucking Republican would have done those same things. So there's something else you like about this racist, narcissistic moron besides the fact that he was able to give you a tax cut.
I hate
Well,
to say it, but there is a lot of people out there. I've seen psychologist after psychologist talk about this, that his base are these people who have been the left behinds for so long that they finally have a group together and feel like someone's paying attention to them. Like, we never cared what these people's votes were because they didn't fucking vote. And now they've learned to go vote for this person and he's going to rally them on. Do you ever remember so many fucking rallies in politics 15 years ago?
No, especially when you're not in office anymore and you're still out doing rallies.
Yeah, they call that the end of the tour, dude. Like, I don't know why. Blue Oyster Cult, you had your fun. Like, why are you still playing casinos? Please stop.
Brewski, thoughts?
Oh, so many, but the easy one on the judges. I mean, he didn't know a thing about any of those judges. The Federal Society were the
Yes,
ones
they gave him a list.
Yeah, and Don McGahn basically was the one that made all the picks, and then they basically told Trump.
This is what I'm saying, though. Like, any Republican would have picked from the same list. Why did they
exactly
Trump up? It's ridiculous. Speaking of Trumpers, I got another news story here. This one just happened. So, first of all, let me.
What's your question?
Can you guys hear that?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I'll play the audio in a second here, but let me just start to read this here. Comic Ariel Ellis. I don't want to say her name wrong. Ariel Elias, maybe. Ariel Elias. I think that's what it is. Handles a beer-chucking right-wing heckler like an absolute boss.
Oh, yeah.
Comic Ariel Elias, and I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, is being celebrated on social media for how she handled a pair of hecklers at a gig in New Jersey over this past weekend. After a back and forth with one of the hecklers over Donald Trump, a man later identified as the heckler's husband threw a can of beer at the comedian on stage during the show at Uncle Vinny's in Point Pleasant Beach. The can was full or close to it based on how loud the splat was.
It was a bottle.
It looked like a can. Do you want to hear the audio of this?
I've heard it, but yes, I do, because when that can hits the wall, listen to it. I mean, and it's not hard to hear.
So this is like a minute and a half, and we'll just let everyone hear the audio.
What's your question?
Did you vote for Donald Trump?
Did I vote for Donald Trump? What do you think?
No.
Okay. Here's a question for you. Why would you ask me that in here, knowing I'm the only Jew in this room? Are you trying to get me killed? If it makes you feel any better, I vote in New York. My vote doesn't matter there. It doesn't matter here either. It doesn't matter, guys. Guys, everybody vote for whoever you want to vote. I don't care who you voted for. I'm just happy we're all here together.
So you voted for Biden?
I don't know. Why does it matter? Yeah, so what? Why does it matter?
I can just tell by your jokes you voted for Biden.
All right. I can tell by the fact that you're still talking when nobody wants you to that you voted for Trump. All right, make some noise if you want her to shut up. But I did ask if anybody had any questions. I didn't think it was going to be. That's on me. That was on me for thinking I could have a human interaction with somebody. That's my fault. No, look, I'm such an insecure person. Here, I'll tell you the rest of that bit, and then we'll move on. I'm so insecure. I went and got an IUD.
Oh, there's the beer.
Okay, yeah.
Are you fucking kidding me? Yo, I'm never coming out with this group of people ever again. Straight up, yeah.
And now the comedian picks up the beer and chugs it in front of the audience.
Like a fucking boss, and it was almost full, dude. I mean, what a fucking asshole, dude. I mean, what are you doing?
I don't understand this, you know? I don't love Trump, but if the comedian's telling Trump jokes, it's like Will Smith, you know, slapping Chris Rock. Like, it's a fucking entertainer. It's comedy. And whether they're making fun of the left or the right, first of all, to be heckling a comedian, get a fucking life. There are people there trying to be entertained, and you're just distracting from the whole thing. But then to chuck a giant, you know, full can of beer at another human, this is what Trumpers think is political discourse.
100%. And the guy that threw it, I mean, it looked like he was probably, I don't know, from what I could see, maybe 20 feet or more from the stage. And the way that can hit the wall behind her, I mean, if that would have hit her, dude, I mean, she could have been seriously hurt, especially if it would have hit her in the head.
Yeah.
Do you know who Stephen Hofstetter is?
Yeah, he's coming to my town this January. I'm going to go see him, Steve Hofstetter. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to tell you to go see him if you hadn't seen him before, but like he's a guy that's got a lot of followers, and he posts all these clips on YouTube from his shows of him dealing with hecklers. That's his big thing.
Yep.
I'd be interested to hear his take on this whole thing. You know, maybe you should work on getting him on the air so we can talk to him a little bit.
I just love that when conservatives want to rip on liberals, they call us snowflakes. Oh, you're so sensitive. But then they go to a comedy club and a comedian is telling a joke that they don't like, and they have to heckle them and throw things at them. You fucking little pitiful snowflakes. Grow a pair, please.
Yeah, you're at a comedy show, dude. And what are you expecting? You knew, by the way, if you know this girl, she's obviously not a Trump voter. So just sit down and fucking be quiet, dude, and just enjoy the comedy show. You didn't know where you were coming?
Yeah.
Well, and you know, conservatives always complain that comedians are always liberals. Well, we can't help it if there aren't any funny conservative people.
Right.
We just can't help it. Yeah. Where you going to go with Dennis
what about
Miller?
Jeff Foxworthy, dude? Come on.
Yeah.
What about who's the other guy? Oh, Larry the Cable Guy, dude. These are people we're still seeing play casinos.
Well, conservatives don't have a real good sense of humor. That's the problem. So no one can really get into that niche. Rob Schneider, you know, he was on Saturday Night Live, but now he's, you know, a comedian nowadays. And he just came out being really conservative. And now people don't want to go see his show because that's your audience. Like the conservatives aren't going.
He was sort of just hanging on, like bad announcement, dude.
Right. So
yeah, that's that poor girl, but she handled it great.
Yeah,
she handled it like a fucking champion, and good job to her. And stop being a bunch of pitiful snowflakes, conservatives. Like you don't think there's anything Trump's done worthy of being made fun of? I mean, come on.
Well, he is
seriously
right now one of his many lawsuits. Did you see that he's suing CNN claiming defamation?
Please. Let me tell you, people, anyone out there in particular listening, just because you don't like the truth, just because it embarrasses you, does not make it slander or defamation. Okay?
Well,
it's just not how it works.
But you know what's funny about that lawsuit with CNN is that CNN, within the past year, was actually purchased by a Trump mega donor, and he's been actually firing all the liberals at CNN using this guy, Chris Licht.
Yes.
Who may or may not have eaten paste when he worked at MSNBC.
Well, in that case, I hope Trump wins his lawsuit then, so he can take down a fellow conservative.
Yeah, but that's the thing is that it's a guy that raised all those sorts of money for you, and you're going to go and sue his company now? I mean, that doesn't make any sense.
None of it makes any sense.
There's no logic or sense going on in this, topic.
No, not at all. None.
Speaking of that, I got another one. I'm connecting all the dots today, people. This is good how we're doing this. This little story came out a week or two ago, but I've been sitting on it because I just wanted to mention it one of these days here. Virgin Atlantic recently announced that they were going to do gender-neutral uniforms for the flight attendants.
Sure.
So that if they wanted to wear, a dress or pants or whatever it is, it was all going to be able to be worn by any gender or any neutral gender. And so let's see, what is this guy here? Some prominent conservative who I think is part of Alex Jones's crew of idiots.
Yeah.
He came out and he said that, where is it? Now I got to find the right quote here. He basically said that the experiment of gender neutrality up at 30,000 feet, that he would like to see how it goes over to have gender neutral bathrooms on airplanes, and that would be a total disaster if airplane bathrooms were gender neutral.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
What would the disaster be?
Well, what would the disaster be? What airplane bathrooms are already gender neutral. They always have been.
I was waiting for you to say it.
So, he's trying to throw us snowflake liberals under the bus of like, oh, you're going to go gender neutral at 30,000 feet. Let's see how a gender neutral bathroom does in an airplane. They've always been fucking gender neutral. You moron.
Such a fucking idiot.
And the
Such
airline
an
industry
idiot.
seems fine. So
I've never heard of anyone getting raped in the bathroom.
Well, there's no room in there. So
I was gonna say I can barely poop in an airplane bathroom, let alone do anything else.
It's just a good example of conservatives just dying to try to find something to poke at liberals over before they get through.
You ever had to take a shit in an airplane bathroom?
Yes. It's
Did it
not.
work?
It's no. Oh God, it's the worst.
So
It's the
walk us
absolute
through
worst.
it. What does it look like, Brisky?
There's a lot of contorting and kind of trying to like lift a leg and trying to reach, and it just doesn't work.
Wow.
Did you get it out?
That wasn't the part that was difficult.
Well, did you get any on you?
No, I did not.
Why are we playing sexy music for this story? I got lost.
I'm just wondering, dude, as a person who has struggled in an airplane bathroom.
This is not a Mile High,
club
story.
No, it's not. It wasn't getting it out. It was the cleaning up that was the difficult part.
I get you.
Okay.
Yes.
There's a visual I
will
didn't
say-
need. So thanks, Nick. Thank you.
Well, can I just share one last thing with you, Steve?
Yes,
I came home
always.
from Vegas one time and I got the flu on the morning I woke up to come home.
Ouch.
The
And
brown
we
bottle
got
flu.
on- Say it again.
The brown bottle flu.
No, it may have had something to do with that, but I was actually sick. Like I was real sick, throwing up, crap in my pants, all of the above. So I use the restroom right before we get onto the plane and think I'm good to go. We
Better
get in
move.
and we're sitting on the the tarmac just waiting to take off.
Oh
The
no.
clock is ticking. I'm like, I'm gonna shit my pants or throw up if I can't get up soon. So finally they take the plane off. As soon as the plane goes up, before they even turn the seatbelt things on, I'm walking up, the plane is still a hill in the sky, and I'm like charging up to the front, squeezing my butt cheeks together, and like flight attendants are looking at me like, sir, the seatbelt sign's on. I blew right past him went into this bathroom.
There's a bomb about to go off. Get out of the way.
Right, I'm surprised I wasn't tackled. Dude, I get in, I throw open this bathroom door, and it is the tiniest fucking bathroom. I had to walk almost in the door sideways. I get in there, and now I do have to shit and puke. So I'm fucking gonna shit my pants, go back, and fucking it starts coming out, and I go to puke, and I puke all over the inside of my underwear. Of my pants.
Oh, dude, I'm so sorry.
So I'm sitting there, dude, thinking to myself, like, what am I gonna do? Like my insides of my pants were covered with puke. So I have to get naked in this bathroom now because I'm gonna try and clean it up a little. You know what I mean?
Wow. And the plane's like taking off or taxiing at this point?
Oh no, it's in the sky, but it's still at a, like
An angle.
climbing.
Yeah.
It's ascending. Yeah.
Yeah. So all I'm thinking about is I'm sitting next to Rachel, and I'm gonna go back there, and I'm gonna smell like poop or puke or a combination. So I clean up as good as I can, and now I've got like wet underwear on, and I've got a 2.5 hour plane ride.
You should have thrown them away.
Oh, I threw the underwear away, but
Okay, good.
My pants were soaked with puke. I took my pants off and like washed it out in this tiny lifesaver size thing. I finally get back, and as I'm coming down the aisle, Rachel raises an eyebrow, like, "Where the fuck have you been? Are you okay?" So I sit down, and she was like, "Oh,
Oh, you reeked.
I just reek, dude. I just reek." And
Puke is
what
hard.
said?
I mean, diarrhea is
There's
bad
nothing I
enough,
can
but
do.
puke stinks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I felt so bad for the people around me, and I had to get up and do that 2 or 3 more times, and I didn't puke in my pants again, but just kept getting up. It was the worst experience of my life.
Wow.
Caring is sharing. Congratulations.
Another fine moment brought to you by the vocal minority.
We are vocal minority.
We've all been there, people. I've had the flu before where I'm, squirting on the pot and leaning over into the sink or the wastebasket, puking at the same time. So,
right.
Oh, I feel bad for you. That's a bad one.
Change my diaper, Daddy.
All right. Well, as long as we're talking about cleaning clothes, let me connect another dot. Man, we're on fire today. All right. I saw this. This is an actual news story, but this brought up an old debate that Mr. Nick Reynolds and I have had for many years. The headline on the article is why experts recommend washing your new clothes before wearing them for the first time.
I don't want to hear it, dude.
Bruce,
I don't want to hear it.
I do it all the time.
Okay,
Absolutely,
so if you get
yeah.
brand new clothes, you don't consider them clean and just put them on?
Nope. Wash them right away.
Thank you.
Before you wear them every time, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially socks. I had a friend whose brother got a staph infection, and they said it was from a chemical that was on the socks that he put on right away, and he came close to losing his foot.
Wow.
That's
Nick
awful.
is contended. Give me your contention, Nick. Why is it okay to just wear new clothes?
Listen, first of all, I'm not a germ phobe, and I think that we need some bacteria on our bodies. So I'm not.
You've got plenty. Don't worry.
I'm just,
Especially after that
just here
story.
to tell you. You know what? Until Steve talked to me about this, I always thought like it's brand new, right? Like it's brand new. And Steve was like, "Yeah, it's sitting in factories with rats and mice and waiting to be shipped." And everything else, and I was like, I never thought about it. I still do it. And Rachel and I just got a new comforter set for our king size bed.
Yeah,
I didn't wash that.
Oh, dude, you're gonna watch it after I read this article to you. So I had told Nick that one of my first jobs when I was like 14 or 15, a clothing store in my little hometown hired me, and one of my jobs was they would get boxes of new clothes, and I would take them out and steam them so that they didn't have wrinkles, and you could put them out on the rack. And I was always like, these things are coming out of a dirty, dusty cardboard box from some factory that they were assembled at and shipped across the country or across the world. And it just seems weird to me. So this article says, let's see, there's nothing like the look of brand new clothes that don't need to be ironed or steamed, because I already steamed them, but you should probably wash them before you wear them. According to experts, wearing new clothes before washing them might lead to skin problems. You might think that new clothes are safe if they look unsoiled, but they could actually be harmful to your skin if they contain toxins, which can then leach into your skin.
From like dye and that type of stuff, or
so here it says, even if a factory is clean and has great air circulation, the chemicals used in the process can be dangerous. Here's what you should be worried about. Lead, first of all, a fairly common ingredient in many brightly colored dye pigments. So the dye that your brand new clothes may have lead in it. So if you haven't washed it yet, it's just sitting there, able to leach into your skin. Formaldehyde, which is a known carcinogen, meaning it can cause cancer, is often used in non-wrinkle garments.
Wow.
PFCs, a fluorocarbon-based water repellent, and azo dispersed dye, a carcinogenic synthetic dye that is easily absorbed by the skin and is linked to contact dermatitis.
Oh,
that's crazy, dude.
So all of these things can either be intentionally put into your clothes as part of the manufacturing process, or they're saying just in the factories, other things can get on your clothes and seep into it. So, yeah, word to the wise. You should always wash brand new clothes. And a comforter that you're sleeping in, either naked or down to your pajamas or whatever, I would definitely be washing that. That's like a hotel comforter.
Well,
Like
listen,
that.
dude. Honestly, tell me how I do that. I gotta buy it brand new and then take it and have it dry cleaned. It's way too big for me to wash.
You can't. It's not a cover that you can take off.
No, it's a full thing.
Then yeah, Seinfeld. I'd get on down to the dry cleaners and hope for the best.
go to the laundromat. Use one of those oversized washers.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to wash that thing at some point. How long do you go washing comforters just with your own sweat and stink and skin cells all over it?
The dog and the cat both sleep on the bed with us, so it's usually I do the actual comforter once a month. Is that too much?
No, I think that's probably fine, but I would do that first one sooner than later if I was you.
Yeah.
I mean, I have animals sleeping on my bed too. I always have, but I make sure I have a clean sheet, and not only is it between me and the comforter, but I always wrap it up and around the comforter, so my face is never touching my comforter cover.
Wow. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. And I mean, that's the other thing is like, once I go have it dry cleaned, my pets are walking around on the floor with no shoes on, obviously.
Yeah. Which is kind of gross, but they don't have lead on them or PFCs or
for sure. Dude, this gives me a great idea that we should be starting some sort of class action lawsuits against these people who put lead in our clothing.
I don't know. Do you know any good attorneys we could talk to?
I do, dude.
Screw this talk show. This is a lot of work. Let's just do a class action lawsuit, man.
Yeah, let's just go do a class action. That's crazy. Well, I'll start washing, Steve. I promise you.
I'm looking out for you. Okay.
I know. I feel it.
All right. I think that's the end of my dots connecting. You guys?
No, I got one more dot to connect while we were speaking of comedians. Any thoughts on Trevor Noah leaving The Daily Show?
I know you're very upset about it, and I feel bad for you. Trevor Noah is cool, but I don't know why. I was a devout Daily Show with Jon Stewart fan, and when Jon Stewart left, I didn't keep watching the show. And that's not a knock on Trevor, because I've seen a lot of his clips circulating online, and he's a great host and he's funny, but I don't know. Something about it, that was just the point in my life I kind of got out of the Daily Show.
So you never watched it with him?
Like I said, I see a lot of the segments circulated online, and I watch them. And I've seen actually, I think, one or two of Trevor's stand-up specials. Cool guy, funny guy. I like him. He's good on the Daily Show, but I'm just not personally sucked into it, so I don't have a strong opinion for you, Nick.
Yeah, no, I get it. What about you, Brewski?
Same thing. I mean, I like some of his stand-up stuff. When he does the impersonation of both Obama and Nelson Mandela, it's top-notch stuff. Yeah, but I didn't connect with him that much on the Daily Show. I like some of the jokes that are written on the Daily Show, but I think that's less about him delivering them and the jokes themselves, because they have a good writing staff.
Great team of writers, yes, for sure, and a lot of them are going to stick around, so it'll be great. Anyone you'd like to see take the chair? Either of you?
Either of us, yes. I think would be perfect to take that chair.
Let's get Brewski in that fucking chair, dude. That'd be a wonderful Daily Show.
I have no opinion on the matter. However, obviously, I hope they pick someone good, because the Daily Show is funny. It is topical. They make a lot of good points. So, yeah, I hope this isn't the death blow. I hope that, like when Stewart left, they find someone good and competent. So I'm curious. Do you have any strong opinions, or are you crying yourself to sleep at night right now?
I don't have strong opinions yet. I mean, I'm bummed out about it, but he's thinking, I mean, some of the names that are being tossed around is like Rory Wood Jr., who I think is very funny.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess I don't know what he would be like as a host per se. I don't know if he could hold the whole show on his shoulders. They're also talking maybe Jordan Kepler, who I think is really funny. And there's a possibility I think he could do it.
Well, he does bits on there, doesn't he? Like where he goes to like Trump rallies and things.
Yeah.
That's what he's definitely most famous for. So maybe they promote him. Are we going to give it to a white guy, though? Come on.
Well,
they're talking about Samantha Bee.
That was another thing about Samantha Bee. She had full frontal.
Well, that show's done, though, I think. I think it got canceled.
It did, but what I mean by that is that she's hosted a show like that.
Yeah.
Right. Sure. Yeah. And she's funny. I just don't know if I don't know if she's the right pick or not. I guess, you know what I hope they'll do, actually, is like Jeopardy did after Alex Trebek died. I hope they have people come and try out for it and see how the public responds to them for a month, and then pick Mayim Bialik, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I hope it's somebody good. I'm a huge Daily Show fan, so I hope they do good things with it. Speaking of the Daily Show and the retired Jon Stewart, the last dot in my stack to connect is, have you seen his interview or his new show?
Are you talking about his Apple show? Is that his new one?
Yes.
No, I don't have Apple TV. And I know you've offered to share your password, which I shouldn't mention, but no, I haven't seen it. Jon Stewart's great and funny, obviously. I know he disappeared for a while there, and now he seems to be kind of getting back to relevant again. So that's good.
Well, but he also did all that work though to get the legislation passed for the burn pits.
Yeah.
I mean, he's done a lot for the 9/11
He's been
people.
working with 9/11 people. He's,
Yeah.
I mean, he's really become, somewhat of a humanitarian, trying to get things taken care of where other people have dropped the ball. This latest show that he had on Apple TV was just so masterfully done. He sat down with the Arkansas AG Rutledge and talked about this bill that they had just signed about transgender youth, and that they are saying basically that if a doctor tells you that, this is what it would take to start your transition process, if you're dealing with any stretch of things to completely transition, or just you want to get on hormones at any level, you can't do it anymore in Arkansas. They've changed that bill where there is a medical association that even Rutledge during this interview couldn't name. It's in the paperwork somewhere, John. But it's basically like the same groups who will pray the gay away,
Mm-hmm.
So it's a huge thing. And he held her feet to the fire with a calmness that was so eerie and made her look so stupid, but the bill's already signed in.
Listen, we need, I was upset when Stewart went away, kind of like Obama going away. Like, we need as many smart liberals out there fighting the good fight as we can. So I know Obama had to bow out for, the etiquette of being the former president. But Jon Stewart, he should come back. He should keep ringing that bell, getting vocal and all that stuff, because he's funny, he's smart, and we need as much of that as we can get.
And I'll tell you, Steve, like, if you can find somebody, not that I would never share a password like that with anyone, but if you can find someone to share a password to Apple TV with you,
yes.
I
think Apple TV needs all the help they can get. So.
Yeah, but I know you will really, really like this show. So check it out.
Duly noted. I'll
start washing my clothes.
Yes, there you go. That's our deal for today.
Okay, good.
I'll save your skin, and you can save my soul with some good Jon Stewart. So.
Speaking of skin, well, let me connect another dot.
Oh, yeah. Do you see the synergy, people?
You heard anything about the skin snake of Antonio Brown, Brewski?
Oh, boy.
I mean, it's recent.
I don't know what any of those words meant.
So Antonio Brown is this psycho ex-wide receiver that played for the Steelers and the Raiders and the Patriots briefly, and then the Buccaneers. And
and what's up with his skin snake?
So Antonio Brown was just recently in Dubai and was swimming. He was at a resort hotel that was there were quite a few people in the pool. And he was in the pool, and he's hanging out, lounging, and at some point decides to take his swimming trunks off.
Not surprising.
And he's got this very large skin snake, just kind of like he's got his hips, posted up towards the top of the water. So it's just kind of like old Nessie hanging out.
Is this a euphemism for his dick?
Yes, it is.
Yes, dude, he's completely got his pants
I thought maybe he had a tattoo of a snake or his skin snake or something. So he's at a hotel, a resort in Dubai, and he just goes free balling.
Yes, and there's these. He's got his dick kind of floating on the water, and it's a large unit. There's all these women around. They get very uncomfortable.
Sure,
and one of them may have been drinking, and she starts laughing. She's kind of an uncomfortable laugh.
Oh boy.
But he pops it up even further out of the water, and he was like that for 15 minutes, just kept kind of bouncing
his mast.
No, I mean, it's huge, but it's just kind of bobbing on the top of the pool.
See, like a dead body.
He's looking for attention. That's all it is. It's everything always with him. It's always about getting him attention.
Do they frown on this in Dubai, or is this what happens over there? I've never been.
No, I believe that they definitely frown on upon that. I mean, they have morality police. That,
Yes.
I mean, if a woman shows her face, she can be beaten to death. But this guy just goes free Johnson out, and what happened to him?
Well, I mean, there's just kind of coming down on him. He's saying it was a joke and everything else, but yeah, so far nothing has happened to him. I don't know if he will be allowed back at that hotel or what, but yep, nope.
Interesting.
Well,
maybe it might have just been a flotation device. Safety first.
Could have been.
I'm sure the hotel, as long as his credit card still will pay for the room,
Yeah.
that
Right.
hotel will, because Dubai, they're just all about the money.
Yeah.
As long as you have the money and you can pay for it, they'll let you do whatever you want.
If you're a
Listen
guy,
up.
yes.
Yes, exactly.
Yes,
You're a
that's
guy.
exactly right. It was an odd experience going to Dubai. I was nervous about actually going there because, I had read all this stuff on the internet, like, oh, if you and your wife are walking down the street, you can't hold hands, you can't kiss in public, and the morality police can't arrest you for it and throw you in jail. So I was like, treated Rachel like a roommate while we were in Dubai, dude. I was like, this is pre-pandemic, but I'm like 6 feet apart, dude. I don't want to touch you. I don't want to know
High five,
you.
baby. High five.
Yeah.
Did she ever start arguing with you, and you're like, listen, woman, I need you to respect the local customs. Cover your face, pipe down.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Wow.
Dubai is a little crazy.
And it's always a good reminder of the difference in countries. Like in this country, you may make fun of a woman for being a bad driver. In that country, they'll fucking kill you. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
Or throw you in jail or whatever.
Take your face covering off and you will be murdered. I mean, they're standing up for a lot of that across the nation now.
Yeah. Well, there you go. But I hear they've got great hotels and all that stuff there. Is it true that people abandon sports cars on the streets of Dubai?
It is true. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
The guy that picked us up in an Uber when we got to Dubai to take us to our resort, I happened to mention out of conversation, because I think it was like a 40-minute drive, that Rachel was an attorney. At some point I said he asked something, I said something about it. Dude, that guy locked on and basically asked us if we could do some paperwork up to get him over to the States. Like a lot of people that are in Dubai are stuck. They can't get out of Dubai, and they come over there to make money for their family to send it back to them, and they'll just be there forever. They'll never be able to go back home.
Wow. And did Rachel take out the briefcase and write up the documents?
Rachel was like elbowing me on my fucking side, like, shut your fucking mouth, dude. Don't tell anyone I'm an attorney.
She's not a very good attorney, so yeah, she won't work for you. She's a woman. I mean, come on, buddy.
She doesn't even have a face covering on. Like, come on.
She's lost it, clearly. Wow. What a world we live in.
Indeed. Brewski, you got your movie tickets to go see Bros?
I don't, but I've heard good things about it.
You have.
I got to tell you, I just want to go see this movie just so I can help, toe the line.
Tell me why, Steve, specifically. I'm interested.
Well, so here's the deal. So Bros, if you don't know, is the first romantic comedy about two gay guys. And the first weekend it came out and it bombed. And it's because...
It didn't bomb. It just didn't...
No, it bombed.
Why do you say that? How much did it make?
Oh, it made well under what the movie was, even a fraction of what it cost. So that's considered to be a major bomb. I mean, it made a few million, but it cost like 30 or 40 million to make. And the guy, and I can't remember his name.
Billy Eichner.
Okay, so he came out and basically said not enough straight people were willing to show up. Right. Certain parts of the country they did. I'm assuming that's the West Coast, but the rest didn't. And this is the problem. Like, you get progressive enough that some big company decided to fund a movie about a gay romantic comedy, but now that it bombs, they're never going to do it again, or it's going to be generations before it happens again. So
right,
I don't know if it's a funny movie or not. I don't go see any romantic comedy, but I hate to see the gay community take it on the chin like that in a way they're not used to. And so it seems like it would be a good thing to go on and support the cause, right?
All right, Brewski, will you feel the same?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
But now it's been out for like 2 weeks, so I don't know. It's probably too late. I'll just buy it on DVD 20 times. Does that equal it out or something?
Yeah, support it in some way, because I agree with you. I think it sucks, and like you said, it'll probably be generations before a huge company decides to take a risk on showing gay people on screen. You know,
I've had this debate with my firstborn, where they feel that if a movie is about a transgendered person, that they have to hire a transgendered actor to be the lead. And I understand what the sentiment there is, but first of all, acting is supposed to be acting. You're supposed to play something that you're not.
Right.
But I try to explain to Neo that, so if they're going to cast Scarlett Johansson in this movie, they do that because it's a business and they need to sell movie tickets. And if you cast a famous person in the lead, this movie has a chance of succeeding. If you cast a transgender person that no one's ever heard of, no one's going to go buy tickets to this movie, and then they're never going to do something like that again. So it is a business, and you got to be smart about it. So if Scarlett Johansson wants to play a transgendered person and sell some tickets, that's better for the ultimate cause of having movies made like this than it is for this niche cause of let's have transgendered people only play transgendered roles.
100%. I mean, and it spans across the board, because Chris Rock, Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
Remember when he did the movie with the guy from Breaking Bad, and he was in a quadriplegic?
I don't, but go ahead.
So people were all up in arms in that community.
Not all up in legs, though, apparently. Sorry. You can't open the door like that for me.
It's going to be real hot down there, dude.
Yeah, Dark Horse and I are going straight to hell. So, yeah, sorry.
At any rate, they were like, why didn't you hire a quadriplegic to play this part? Like if you wanted something authentic, we don't get very many chances and positions. I understand the sentiment, but Steve, you're 100% right. Like, it's more important to get that story out there, and hopefully you can change a mind or change a life, or, I understand wanting representation on the screen, and that's what's too bad about Bros, is that gay people finally got a little representation, and it didn't do very well. That sucks.
Yeah, and I'm told it's a funny movie too. I don't think that's the reason it didn't do well.
Right? Yeah.
Well, I mean, remember that movie My Left Foot?
Say it again.
The movie My Left Foot with Daniel Day-Lewis?
Yes, or Rain Man with Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah, I mean, how are you going to find? I mean, it would be easier to find somebody that was autistic, I suppose, to play Rain Man. But how are you going to find somebody to accurately portray the guy in My Left Foot that has the same kind of affliction?
Yeah,
it's not like you can just go out there, and there's a lot of people who have that.
Right. That's the other problem. An actor, I don't know a really famous transgender actor who's risen to the top of the box office that they could be cast in the lead. And I would actually argue Dustin Hoffman, like, you can't just find anyone who's autistic out there. What famous actor is there that can sell tickets? And they're not acting at that point, by the way. Like,
they're being themselves.
Right.
You can't find another person who's been stuck on an island for like, what's that Wilson movie, dude? Castaway. Right? Like, they didn't find a guy who had actually been stuck and abandoned on an island.
No, I like you said, Nick, I get the sentiment. Sure. And maybe down the road there will be a whole community of transgendered actors or whatever that are now able to be box office stars. But if you want the story told, if you want the movie made, it is a business. You got to sell tickets. So they're going to cast Dustin Hoffman or Tom Cruise or whatever and let them act. Let them be something they are not. Is that
Did Neo take that? I mean,
nah.
Still pissed.
They're my offspring, so they don't like to back down in a debate. They like to dig their heels in.
Both
but,
of them.
I think it registered a little bit. So that's all I can hope for with kids.
And the thing about a trans community versus, like, say, like an Asian community, you can find plenty of Asian actors who can play an Asian character.
Yeah.
There, like you said, there aren't a lot of transgender people in the acting world that can play these parts.
And do they have to prove they're transgender in the movie? I mean, do I have to see genitalia so I know they're authentic? Like, how far are we to take that?
Take your word for it.
Exactly. So.
Yeah.
And there you go. And now you know.
All right. Well, I'm going to go see Bros. I wish we were all in the same city so we could go see it together.
Yeah, well.
But we can't.
We can't. I'll get it on Netflix. We can do a little popcorn party. We'll all get on FaceTime with each other and watch some bros.
That'd be nice. I like that a lot.
Maybe give some back rubs somewhere in there. I don't know.
Hey, Brewski, what was the deal last night with your soda fountain shop? You went to a parlor last night of sorts, did you?
Talking about his giant bowl of ice cream? Is that what you're referring to?
Oh,
Yes.
that, yeah. So my sister and I went to this restaurant at Foxwoods, and on top of selling regular food there, this particular place has a big like dessert menu like you wouldn't believe. It was like a advertisement. And
billboard size menu.
Oh my god, yeah,
That's awesome, dude.
yeah. And I decided, well, I'm going to get myself a sundae.
It was a classic Sunday, dude.
Not just any Sunday from what I saw.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing was huge. I mean, I had no idea it was going to be that big.
What did Sister Brewski take down?
Oh, she just said, well, I mean, that was after I had a double cheeseburger and fries.
Nice.
Okay.
So I had a double cheeseburger and fries. And then I said, well, I'm going to get some dessert. And she had a grilled chicken sandwich. And then that dessert came, and they gave us 2 spoons, but my sister wanted no part of it. She was all set, and I ate every last bit of it.
Did you? Good. Did you eat the cherries that were on top? The gummy cherries?
The gummy cherries. Yes, I did.
Those look like testicles. The picture you sent us.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it was. Those weren't. But the rest of the ice cream was fantastic. But it was huge.
Yeah, it was big.
Oh, now you are a champion.
Nice job.
Oh my god.
I'll go get one of those tonight so I can put on a few pounds.
You need to do it, Harness. You got to do it.
I'm working on it. All right.
Wow.
All right, gentlemen. Anyone have any final thoughts? We're approaching our cutoff time again.
Okay.
Brewski, anything that I can't live without from you tonight? Other than just your normal witty banter?
No, nothing left. Nothing left. I mean, I gave you all the details about the Hall Oates thing. I was disappointed.
Yeah, too bad, dude.
Although now next week I've got a metal weekend going on, and that's part of the reason why I was weird about the scheduling for next week.
Well, who are you going to see? Who's the metal?
So Sunday night I'm going to see Priest, 50 years of metal.
Okay.
Wow.
And then the next night, Maiden.
Really? Wow.
Yes.
Are you going solo?
Yes, to both.
Wow.
And the Priest.
Is Rob Halford still alive and kicking?
Yes, he is.
Okay.
Yes, he is. And actually, the Priest show, I have a general admission ticket, and I'm going to be right down front. I'm getting to the concert venue really early, so I can just be right up front and be there for the show.
Nice.
Good for you, dude.
Yeah.
You go to a lot of concerts, Brewski. It's good.
It's a metal weekend, and I'm looking forward to it.
I'm seeing the opposite this Friday.
You are?
Yeah, right before pandemic, I bought Rachel concert tickets for her birthday for one of her favorite bands, and obviously got canceled in pandemic. Well, they're playing on Friday night here in Seattle, so we're gonna go see them. Haven't seen them. Pet Shop Boys.
Oh,
okay. That's cool.
And
Erasure's on that tour too.
Who sings Bizarre Love Triangle, Brewski?
New Order.
New Order. Yeah. New Order and Pet Shop Boys. That's who.
Yeah, that's the Unity tour. That I've heard good things about that.
Erasure's on that tour now. I'll see them on Friday.
I thought they were.
Okay, maybe they are.
You know what's so funny? You ask who sang New Love Triangle or whatever. I have no idea. Yet I host the Totally 80s Drive at 5 every day on my radio station.
Yeah, Bizarre Love Triangle. I like that track. I maybe know 7 songs at this concert as far as I know. But Rachel did say that Pet Shop Boys was one of the most fun concerts she's ever been to. Yeah. And this was her reasoning. She said that the majority of the audience will be gay men, and they nonstop dance through the whole show. So she's excited for that. And we'll see how it goes. I'll let you guys know.
But I'm hoping that New Order plays Love Vigilantes. If you ever get a chance, Nick, look at the lyrics to that song.
All right.
It's not it's not what you think it is. It's actually a pretty serious topic, actually.
Let me plant a seed for a future episode of the Vocal Minority. Worst musical decade, starting in the 50s on forward.
Wow.
I have a very solid
answer. Do you want me to
answer.
tell you now or later?
You can give me your brief answer, but let's debate this some other episode.
Yeah.
What is it? What decade is the worst musical decade? And by worst, I don't necessarily mean like it's terrible, but comparing 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s today. Yeah, what's the worst musical decade?
Today, I mean, if is 2000 to 2022, is that today?
Yeah,
yes.
I mean, you might be right, actually. Yeah,
I would say like 2005 through 2015 was the worst decade of music.
Yeah, I mean, rock music has taken it on the chin in recent years. You're probably right. My traditional answer is the 80s. And it's funny because, like I said, I host the Totally 80s. And on our radio station, Nick hosts the 90s at noon. And I'm so jealous that you got the significantly better musical decade. I really don't like the 80s, yet I host the whole show. So
you know what? We should do call a Friday swap, dude. You should do 90s at 5, and I should do the 80s at noon.
Yeah, we should. Anytime I fill in for Nick, I love doing the 90s at noon because it's the best hour of music we do every day. And and then I go and suck it up and do the 80s. And there's good stuff in the 80s. It's not all terrible, but as compared, I hate the keyboard synthesizer side of the 80s. I love the Metallica side or some of the good rock bands that were going, but yeah, the glam side of the 80s, I fucking hate it.
Yeah, well, you're not going to like this concert I'm going to on Friday.
Probably not, but that's all right. You guys have fun.
Thank you.
Do you guys play the Ghost Town by the Specials?
No. I try to stick to the rock side of it for the 80s,
Give it a listen sometime if you don't know the song offhand.
I don't know that I do. No.
It's a ska classic, and it was in a lot of the
hate it already. It's a ska classic. Is that what you just said?
Ska, yeah, SKA.
Yeah.
It's a really good song.
Hey, Brewski, are we going, in your opinion, with you don't like ska music, Harness?
It's like reggae. Like you play it for 30 seconds and it's just on a loop over and over. Upbeats, I get it. Oh, okay.
Fair enough. Listen, Brewski, is it the German or American version from Nina? 99 Red Balloons.
I like the German version better.
I do too.
I do too. And you know why? I'll tell you why I like the German version better. It proves my long-running theory that lyrics don't really matter because you can sing in a different language and it's still a big hit because it's not about the words, it's about the melody.
Well, do you guys play the Falco version of De Commissar?
No.
Why not?
There's no Falco.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
Listen, Brewski, Harness has given me full permission, unspoken.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you get this in writing?
Permission to play as deep as I want on the 90s at noon, but that's the only hour that that we go crazy.
Okay. I'll
unless you're tuned into our mornings, then we don't exist.
Yeah, right.
I'll give you a 90s song, and I'll ask if you guys play it. Okay?
Yes, please.
All right. Nick's the man, so you talk to him.
Gray Cell Green by Ned's Atomic Dustbin.
Nope. But I'm willing. Send it to me.
He's saying no, as in we don't play it currently.
Yeah, I don't play it. I'm just not. I'm not even familiar with it.
Cut Your Hair by Pavement.
Yes, I play that, dude. Good for you.
Nice.
Gentlemen by the Afghan Wigs.
Yes. Play
I love
some Sunny Day Real Estate.
Okay. All right.
So yeah, we go a little deeper into the 90s.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. Nick and I are experts in the topic, so.
Well, I'll send
most of it came from our personal collections.
Right. Yeah, these are our CDs that we've uploaded.
Exactly. And we still look like we dress from the 90s, so it all connects back together.
Yeah, when I turned 40, was that my 40th birthday party?
Yeah.
Yeah, Steve flew in from Tahoe to come to surprise me for my 40th. It was a surprise party. And it was a 90s party.
Yeah.
Steve and I pretty much had the same exact outfit on, and I didn't get ready for the party. I didn't even know it was a 90s party.
It was a surprise party for Nick. So he showed up just dressed how he dresses. I was dressed identical to him, and it wasn't hard because that's just how I dress still. So we both had red flannels on. Torn jeans. I'm literally wearing ripped jeans right now as we sit here on this show. and I love
So
them.
funny. Yeah.
And they're
That's
back in
fantastic.
fashion again, according to my teenagers. So it all works out.
You know, at my 40th birthday, we did a 70s party since I was born in 71.
Yeah.
But I also decided that I needed to stay true to the age I was turning.
Okay.
So I stocked my refrigerator full of 40 ounces of beer.
Like what kind? Old English or
Everything I could get my hands on. I had
All
a
right.
variety.
Nice.
Yeah. Bud, Old English, Ole. I couldn't find any Crazy Horse, unfortunately. They don't make that anymore. Mickey's,
right?
St. Ides,
Little malt
everything.
liquor.
Oh my
They're
God.
real.
Yeah.
Slamming 40s. Nothing like a little alcohol poisoning for your 40th birthday, right?
For whatever reason, well, when we were in the 90s, I believe, yeah, it was in maybe 1990 or 91 when Boys in the Hood came out.
Yeah.
You remember?
Yeah.
Yeah. My whole town decided that we would start drinking 40s, like oldie 40s.
Yeah.
So we used to guzzle a 40 before we went to school. And then we would guzzle another 40 at lunchtime. So just, you know what that does to your stomach, dude. I mean, yeah, it was not great decisions, but some of the best times of my life.
I am so lucky I didn't start smoking pot or drinking alcohol until like literally the last day of my senior year. I never would have graduated.
Yeah. That would have been
Kids are
dangerous.
listening. Wait till your last week of high school before you start any of that shit.
Yeah, the worst that can happen with that pot is
someone get me some Cheetos.
you just get a little hungry.
Otherwise, I'm all for the Boys in the Hood.
Bitches ain't shit but hoes and tricks.
It's my new mantra. All right. Oh, hey, speaking of which, just real quick, I'll throw this into the end of the podcast, hoping some other people have stopped listening. Brewski, the ghosting I was getting from the lawyer, it's done.
Oh.
The date is on the books.
Yes.
A specific date?
Yes. Oh, yeah. We got a date at the time, all set up. It's a couple
All
of weeks away,
right.
but it's all I need. So Suicide Girl is back on the shelf, everyone. I'm not screwing around with any of that stuff until I know what's going on with the law.
You got to treat this one right. You got to be careful.
Well,
And you
here's
have
the thing. You know,
have
we
to
were
learn
talking-
Fly Eagles Fly. You have to learn it.
Yeah, you're going to have to teach me that, the Eagles song. So, you know, we were talking earlier about our cheating guy and STDs and diseases and all that stuff. Well, you know, I had mentioned that was in my ex's repertoire. She was capable of cheating. And so when the relationship ended, I started to wonder, like, was there someone else? And I don't know if there was, but
Oh boy.
my point is I went out and got tested for every STD they can possibly test for, and I got a 100% clean bill of health. Even the type of hepatitis that 80% of us have. I don't even have that. Congratulations. So I'm not messing around with anyone. I'm going to keep this clean bill of health going until I know if second date material is going to go somewhere. If it doesn't, then I'll go out and start banging everything. But otherwise, I'm keeping my clean bill of health for now, and I got the date on the calendar. Looking forward to it.
Good for you, dude.
Good for you. Good times. I'm glad to hear it.
And by the way, I got her name, profession, and city wrong. Her name is Sarah. She's a plumber, and she lives in Fallon, Nevada. So
Fallon.
Okay.
Wow. All right.
Just so no one can find her.
A tradeswoman.
Yes, exactly.
Are you still listening?
So anyways, that's what I know for now. Everyone out there in podcasting and social media land, we appreciate you tuning in. Continue to spread the good word for us. Tell people, share stuff online, and reach out to us. We want to hear from you.
Yes, please, dude. Don't be a brewski. But being a brewski means not listening to the podcast in Boston.
I'm sorry.
It's all right. You're listening now, dude. So we can see you on the map, brewski.
That's right. Better late than never. There was some actor I saw once where someone was like, you know, do you ever go watch your movies? And he was like, why would I? I already know how it ends. Like, I was there making it. Why would I go watch it?
Yeah. Hey, dude, we're just trying to get the dots on the map, brewski. Come on.
Right. So you keep it up. Your son's pulling the weight for your family. So let's
I
see what
guess
you
so,
can-
yeah.
All right, everybody. Yeah, find us on all the social media. Go to our website, thevocalminority.net. Champions, we'll figure out a schedule for next week, and we'll be back then.
Greetings and salutations.
Yes, there you go. Peace. Peace.
Brewski's already at his other job, dude.